pick off the Wolves in game one decisively.
That was the Thunder Radio Network. Welcome to the show. Yeah, the game got out of hand late, but if I'm Minnesota, this was still very winnable. A 10-point lead, Pearl, doesn't really mean a lot. Minnesota played really, really badly in the second half, but it took a while for OKC to finally put them away. The story of the game is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Obviously, he's going to be the MVP this year, and he was all over the place. He was excellent. The Thunder defense deserves a lot of credit, but to me, the bigger thing is, how does Anthony Edwards rebound from game one? Julius Randle looked unstoppable in the first half. He was a disappearing act in the second half. And again, I guess I'm kind of encouraged here from Minnesota in a weird way, because they did not play a good game. They played a terrible second half, and this still felt like it was within striking distance with 5 minutes left to go in the game.
Yeah, I didn't see that game that way at all. When they were even close, I mean, first of all, the Thunder probably a little tired, couldn't hit a shot in the first half. I tried to live bet this one, and there was never a point where Oklahoma City wasn't a huge favorite because it felt like a matter of time. Julius Randle, are you really relying on Julius Randle hitting 90% of his threes?
I mean, he has to be the second star. Yes.
Yeah, no, but he's not going to hit 5 or 6 from three-pointer. Clearly, that's not a sustainable. That was their offense.
Right.
The guy, as you mentioned, they're not getting anything consistent from Ant-Man. The bench was terrible. Dante DiVincenzo's lost his shot. I mean, he's been terrible for a little while now. They don't really have. I understand. I think you're right. I think they could get a game or two, but I do not see them as a threat in the series. I mean, they have a major problem. Like, Rudy Gobert stinks.
Well, they don't put him on the floor really in the fourth quarter.
Well, even if they did, like, he can't. What's he gonna? He's terrible on offense. He saw last night trying to play offense is just embarrassing.
Yeah, and the fact that Chet Holmgren, who had a good game last night, obviously big man, not as tall, but basically skinny. That whole thing, and Chet was actually very good last night.
Right. But he didn't match up with Gobert. I'm just saying Gobert is such an offensive liability, and the T-Wolves know it. So what do you do? Try to go to Naz Reid, but he's lost his shot. He was terrible last night. So I guess if you're Minnesota, you could squint and say all our bench players will start hitting their threes. But I think that was the game they had to steal, and they couldn't do it. I think Oklahoma City's just going to get better and better. Feels to me like OKC's getting better as the playoffs go on. I think they are really molding into championship form. I honestly, I don't see how Minnesota gets past them, and I don't see how the Eastern Conference gets past them. They just had waves of defenders. I mean, every time Julius Randle was dribbling the ball, I'm like, okay, which OKC guy is going to steal it from him this time? They just come at you. There's really, I think Chris Finch, the Minnesota coach, I'm sure he's in tape and trying to figure out what to do. I'm not sure what the answer is. You can't stop SGA's dribble. He goes wherever he wants at any time of the game.
That is true.
So you can't try a small guy on him and not going to work to stop the dribble. He's just going to shoot over him. Try a big guy, he goes right by him. There are too many impossible matchups. I don't see it. I don't see it in the next round either. I think OKC has just got this figured out. Don't they look a little more confident? Can you see them as a young team growing in confidence? And by the end of the game, you can see like we're the guys. This is our year.
Yeah, I think momentum's a tricky thing in the NBA, and after you take out Jokic, you're probably going to be feeling pretty confident, right? That you should get confidence off of that, considering he's a 3-time MVP. They took him out in this round, but I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with you. There are times when it feels like Oklahoma City's offense really can't find much, and outside of Shai, there are times when they can go stagnant a little bit. The defense is always going to be there. That's what keeps them in these games, no doubt. That's what can make them so dangerous. And that's really what sparked their win in the second half. They kind of used two different pushes in this game. There was a 10-0 run, I believe, in the third quarter that got them the lead finally. And then there was that second push in the fourth quarter, and then Minnesota didn't have an answer. And to me, though, if Edwards brings his game, we don't know about the ankle. He came back after going into the locker room. Pearl, I know you have a huge issue with how he's been treating this ankle. But
aren't you getting sick? Isn't everybody getting sick of him rolling his ankle? Okay, he's out for the series. He rolled his ankle twice on one play. Oh, he's in the locker room. Oh, look, he's back. Like, come on, dude. Somebody fix this ankle or wear a brace. Wear 3 braces.
You don't think he would fix the ankle if he could have a perfectly fine ankle? What professional athlete wouldn't choose that? Of course, they're doing everything.
The broadcast said last night that the teammates are in awe of Anthony Edwards' ability to come back from his constant ankle injuries. So, like, he has a bionic ankle. It looks like he's out for the series. Then he comes back. Something weird is going on here because I know you mentioned Jalen Brunson has a lot of ankle injuries.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to the locker room more than Ant-Man and then comes back. Like, are you hurt? Are you not hurt? What's going on? Why aren't you wearing a massive brace on that ankle, which is clearly a problem throughout the entire postseason?
Well, I don't know. Jalen Brunson in the first series, he was going back to the locker room, I think, in 2 different games. And
like
then came
consecutive
back.
games.
Yeah, like, what are you going to do? It's the NBA. Guys are, fighting, especially you're trying to get to the rim. You're going to roll ankles. You're going to get feet tied up.
Nobody's rolling it like that. His ankles are a problem. I mean, I'm honestly wondering, is he going to have a great career with those ankles? They seem to rock and roll like a cruise ship.
Oh, geez.
They're moving all over the place.
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes you guys roll ankles and you're like, wow, this looks really bad. And it always looks worse in slow-mo, like every injury. And then they're back. And then they're playing great. Like, we haven't talked about Jalen Brunson rolling his ankle in 2.5 weeks.
Brunson's not a vertical player. Brunson barely gets 2 feet off the ground. Anthony Edwards needs to be fully athletic. And listen,
do you think that's why he had such a bad second half?
No, I mean, I think that Oklahoma City is an impossible matchup for him. Impossible. I mean, they have wings defenders for weeks. Of course, I think I came into this series thinking he's going to have a problem, and I think everybody thought he had a problem. It's named Alex Caruso, Kason Wallace, Jalen Williams.
They went 10 deep last night.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's one thing to try and cover Jokic, who's 7 feet tall. That was a challenge, but they are perfectly designed to cover Anthony Edwards. And everyone knew that coming in. It was no secret that Minnesota was going to have a problem. And Minnesota doesn't pass the ball. They're a one-on-one offense, right? So Anthony Edwards is going to have to beat a guy, and it's just too many tall guys to beat, too many tall wings.
Let's hear from Anthony Edwards comparing the Thunder defense to an AAU team.
Just how did you kind of process their defense?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to process because he's right. It was different. It was different every time. I mean, heavy in the gaps. Sometimes trap the ball screen, sometimes don't. Sometimes just run and jump. It's kind of similar to like AAU. They remind me of like an AAU defensive team. Just run and jump, fly around. So it was pretty good. Good to get it out of our system in game 1. So we'll be ready for game 2. We should be ready.
I'm not taking much away from this game 1. I'll give the flowers to OKC. I'm not just glossing over that, but Minnesota had 5 days off. They knew this was going to be was going to be tough to get back the intensity. That happens all the time. I don't think that doesn't mean you have championship mettle. It's game 1. You're feeling each other out, and let's see what kind of adjustments they make now that they've seen what OKC wants to do on defense. There may be nothing. You're right about that. Yeah. If Anthony Edwards doesn't play well, and then you're hoping Julius Randle, is all of a sudden takes it to another level, maybe that Cinderella story for him is over, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm not taking sweeping generalizations like, oh gosh, Minnesota can't get back in the series. No way.
Wouldn't that rest thing, they were leading until the fourth quarter, wouldn't that have meant that they had, I'm not sure I understand. The rest, they should have won this game because the rest is not going to get any better. That part's going to get worse.
No, but there's like a rest thing. And I know they came out.
But they were rusty, but they were leading most of the game.
Yeah, but never by a lot. Like this was never, they didn't blow a 10-point lead or anything like that. This was single digits. It was a close game until about 7 minutes left to go in the third quarter is when OKC kind of made the run. The thing about
OKC, the run, they always have this run. If you miss a 3 against OKC, you have to watch out. Because if you can't set your defense against SGA, it's trouble time. That's why I think they're really interesting. They remind me of the old fast break team from the 80s. If it's a 1 or 2 point game, it can become a 15-point game like that. That's why OKC is so scary. And I was watching every time some bench player on Minnesota chucked up a 3 and it was a long rebound, I'm like, oh, this is trouble, right? Did you feel like they are running down, they're coming a million miles an hour, great transition team. So Minnesota's got to get them in half court. Yeah, you're right, because Minnesota did lose the first game against Golden State, but then Curry got hurt.
Well, that was a little different. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I think you're declaring this over. You're actually declaring the entire postseason over.
I mean,
OKC's to lose.
I still want to do that bet with the guys over there because I kind of favor the Knicks in the Eastern. I think OKC is going to run over the East in 5 games.
What did we decide? EJ was going to wear the painted on jersey. Just paint, paint.
Yeah, and I was going to eat the 72-ounce steak in an hour.
And you were going to eat the 72-ounce steak in an hour. And Manny gets away scot-free here. He just gets to sit in the corner and laugh.
Let's go, Knicks!
Manny, I think you got to wear the painted. Well, I want to get into an HR violation. You'd have to choose yourself if you'd like to paint on a jersey onto your body. I can't tell you to do that. I mean, I probably could, but
I mean, these are Knicks fans. They're very thirsty for a title. You guys might just paint your body Knicks colors anyway,
just
right?
for the heck of it.
I don't know to paint. I'm doing it because I don't want to do that.
I call that a Thursday night.
Yeah, for man.
Man, he's just wearing body paint to the bar.
There's nothing fly about painted jersey.
I
That's the worst.
Frenched that thing like I was in Paris.
It doesn't feel like a punishment for Manny for some reason. He doesn't seem scared of
Well,
this.
he's been doing those back lat pull downs, but this isn't the back. I mean, you can paint the back.
I definitely will paint the back. It'll be the first thing that I paint.
Gosh.
Can I tell you the only time I've seen this done well was on Giancarlo Stanton when he did it for the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Not sure you guys are going to look the same.
What's that
definitely
mean?
not.
What's that mean, Maggie? What are you trying to say there?
It's just a prediction. Sometimes they go wrong.
I kind of agree with Maggie, though. I still feel like the Thunder, they won. I think that score was deceiving. That was like a 10-point game-ish for most of the fourth quarter. Like,
It was a gettable game.
Yeah, and I think the T-Wolves, they shot the ball so ungodly bad. And I know they've been shooting. They've been shooting that poorly for most of this postseason. But if some of those shots start to go in, I think there's a little more game pressure. That's a different final.
Right, but I would think OKC didn't really find their offense. That was not a normal OKC. They were terrible in the first half. I totally understand what you guys are saying, and I'm a big fan of Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. I just don't see that they have. Like, do you play Gobert? Do you not play Gobert? Who covers SGA? I mean, the one thing they could do, they're definitely sending a tape to the NBA today saying, like, these are not fouls.
Oh,
so they're going to try and get the officials on their side.
I don't even want to go there. I mean, this is all the discourse online.
How can you not go there? That was the obvious storyline of the game. You don't think fans are going to do it? If you have Jalen Brunson and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander foul merchanting for 48 minutes a game in the finals, you don't think fans are going to notice this?
Did you see Big Body Brunson? Did you see him?
I want to take the term foul merchant and blast it into the sun.
Why did Doris say that?
She said, she's like, as NBA Twitter says, Doris is great, but
I don't think Doris called out the calls in it.
Yeah,
I don't think Doris was great last night at
compliment.
all.
Yeah, he was using that as a compliment. I'm like, they don't use it as a compliment, Doris. I don't know what you're doing here.
I felt like Doris in the booth was could have been a little more critical of the officiating. But then again, I understand. Listen, it's easy for me to say when I'm not calling the game.
I mean, they were matched with, they both got 22 fouls called on them, both teams.
And maybe it's just me. I just feel like I just don't see these calls being so egregiously like that's not a foul.
Oh, because Shai's on the floor the whole time.
But they're floppers. He embellishes, but I think he's drawing contact.
Embellishes. That team is Caruso and SGA are hardcore floppers.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. My threshold for foul discrepancies and really bad officiating is the bar for that to me is set so high in the NBA. This kind of game doesn't even scratch the surface. You're telling me because Minnesota had 21 free throw attempts and OKC had 26.
What was the
guys,
first?
do you remember Dwayne Wade in the finals?
What was the first half when it was a really close game? I think SGA
had 11. I think 11 of his 31 came from the free throw line.
The foul shooting kept the Thunder in the game in the first half, and then they got Jaden McDaniels in foul trouble. And they got Gobert in foul trouble.
It was 11 free throw attempts to 15 free throw attempts.
Yeah, but Shai Gilgeous himself drew 12 fouls in that game.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Well, he's also making it happen. I mean, he's getting in the paint. He's falling to the floor. He's putting the arm out. He's doing all the things.
Yeah, he's kind of James Harden, Luka Doncic. And that's not a good thing. You mean that as an insult or a compliment?
I'm just saying that I didn't think that it was so egregious that this is the big storyline coming out of the game. That was me.
Oh, geez. I think that.
I guess I'm in the minority.
I think that they're just. They're calling it a little tighter than I think they should. I think they should just let some of the contact go.
Don't you think that will change when they go on the road? It all evens out, or
no,
you don't think so?
What is the big storyline about SGA? What does everyone call him? He's the ultimate foul merchant. He's driving people crazy. That didn't just come out of last night. That's the entire story.
I watched James Harden. I feel like I was watching something way worse. I've watched Dwayne Wade. I watch all these guys.
I wouldn't say way worse.
Wade was getting 20 free throws a game in that finals.
SGA had 9 free throw attempts.
SGA
7 for 9.
I think SGA is the number one.
Anthony
foul
Edwards
getter.
had 7.
Him and Brunson what
is the difference? And Anthony Edwards he could have been more aggressive, I think, in this game.
I also feel like growing up, Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson would also live at the free throw line, and we were like, those guys are great at drawing fouls.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's guys who draw fouls oh, you guys are foul merchants. The way
that's what I'm saying. My bar is high for
the way
an
they
NBA.
switch up, it's just so lame to me. Dwayne Wade, again, one of the most popular players of this generation, and he always drew fouls like crazy.
I think Luka and Harden, for about 3-year period, gutted the NBA with this foul drawing stuff. I think it stinks. I don't think Kobe. I mean, they remember when James Harden would just throw his arms into a guy and get a foul? SGA is way better than that. The funny thing is, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a much better player than those guys. So he's got like the foul drawing stuff of Harden, but he's better. So it's going to win the title.
Are somehow going in.
Yeah, I mean, Harden got some of them in, but it's kind of hard to watch. I mean, the Thunder, they are they're the mid-range monsters. I mean, it's not exactly. I know Hartenstein had a bunch of dunks, but it's kind of a non-aesthetically pleasing basketball. That's just my opinion. I don't think I don't think people are going to fall in love with this style of basketball. I think it's closer to San Antonio Spurs than, say, the Shaq Kobe Lakers.
That's interesting. I mean, are they going to fall in love with this team, though? Are they likable? They're likable, but like, are they somebody who you're gravitating towards? Shai's a star. You know, do people get drawn to him?
It feels like the tide is turning to this team.
Once you win, you become more popular. But I think it's going to be interesting.
Is Jokic more popular? He won.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I do think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has this reputation as a foul guy. It's there.
More than Harden? I mean...
Well, Harden was the worst, but Harden didn't have a good reputation. Do you even want to be in the same sentence with James Harden?
Well, some of that was because, the nightlife, other things, showing up out of shape. Shai's never done anything like that.
Yeah, I think Harden's style play was also kind of tough to deal with.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. It's Wednesday. So we have a great debate coming to you later on in the show. It felt like bombshell after bombshell dropping yesterday. Whether it was the New York Times, whether it was Netflix dropping a documentary, it was just like I felt like my day was just tabloidy and salacious. It's not a bad Tuesday.
I'm the truth.
We'll get to all of that. Who's in the crosshairs? We have so much NFL to get to as well. Joe Burrow complaining, but about what? I don't know. Kind of seems more like whining. MMP.
I'm Joe.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I was lightning before the thunder.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I try to consider myself a rational sports fan, Maggie, but I watched that game last night. I'm like, oh, it's over. I did the classic overreacting to the first game of a series, but I do think the Thunder came in as such a strong favorite. It's not really a wild overreaction to see what you saw on the court. Systematically, their defense is so great. If you miss a long shot, if you miss a three-pointer, they're going to come out. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for all the criticism about drawing all the fouls, is unstoppable. I mean, the dude is just unstoppable. He's 6'6" with a ridiculous handle. It can hit a shot from anywhere inside the three-point line. I just don't know if there are a lot of answers. If I'm Minnesota right now and I'm looking at tape, I'm definitely really worried.
Can I just point out something that I think I'm starting to figure out about the last four teams remaining? I just don't think any of these superstars are really breaking through in a way that the NBA maybe hopes. And listen, they're all young, so there's a lot of room for that. But I don't think, we just put a poll question out there, EJ did, and it's a good one at Maggie and Pearl. Are the Oklahoma City Thunder, is the team likable? I just don't think they're really capturing the hearts and minds. They have a good storyline going with Shai and his cousin, Nikhil Walker-Alexander, as opposed to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They grew up together in Ontario. Great job telling that story last night from ESPN.
No.
They're covering each other.
That has been way over, but that has become ridiculous. Now it's like, we should play a drinking game. How many times are they going to mention their cousin? It's become, as many people point out, it's the Matthew Stafford, Clayton Kershaw went to high school together story.
Well,
Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard.
They're guarding each other. They grew up together. Okay.
All right, we know their cousins. Anyway.
What? Matt Stafford and Clayton Kershaw
it was
went to school
cute
together?
about 3 days ago, and now it's overblown.
Anyway,
but
they should be setting that scene in game one. If they're still doing this thing in game 5, then obviously it's too much.
But you guys know that they grew up together in Ontario.
They're like brothers. Yeah, I
know.
Right outside of Toronto.
They went to high school together.
By the way, it is really cute, but then it became it crossed that line. I don't know how a sports story does that. You call it the Clayton Kershaw Matthew Stafford effect.
Yeah, a little shark jumping.
Yeah, okay. But one thing I do disagree. I think there's one potential superstar. I think if Anthony Edwards ascended to leading a team to the title, that would do it for the NBA. He looks like he's like Michael Jordan light in the sense that the man can fly.
Yeah, no.
Where everybody else is like Jalen Brunson can barely dunk the ball. SGA is a mid-range guy, and Tyrese Halliburton is more of a team player. So I think there's only one transcendent star in this group.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I'm wondering, I know he's only 23 years old, Anthony Edwards. We have a long way to go with him in our lives. And, you know, we're on in Atlanta, which is like his home. And I'm curious what people think there because I just think there's something about him right now. Yeah, the game is amazing to watch. Disappeared a little bit last night. There's like a maturity thing that I think obviously still needs to get ironed out a little bit. It's not to the point of Ja Morant where he's like getting caught in a strip club flashing a gun around, but this day and age in social media, we've got some text messages come out a little unsavory. He's not going to be a perfect person. I'm not expecting him to be, but I'm just talking about the connective tissue. Brunson does for New York, okay? But New York is also, I think, nationally kind of turning some fans off. You know, it's cool to see the celebrities front row. I think the fans, if you're in New York, you love it. If you're outside of New York, you don't like it. So I think there's like a Brunson being like, they call him a WFAN, the king of New York, you know, that whole thing will get you very, very far in sports. Being a huge star in New York, why did Aaron Rodgers want to come here? You know, being a huge star in New York certainly has its appeal, but I'm not sure if nationally he has totally, you know, become
I don't
like
think
that. Like people are,
casual fans have no idea who Jalen
It's not
Brunson
like
is.
Aaron Judge, but Judge is different. Judge is larger than life, and he's playing the World Series, and he's an MVP.
I don't think national fans have the slightest idea who Jalen Brunson is.
They do.
NBA but I mean, like casual, like the people come just for the finals outside of New York. I don't think Jalen Brunson, because the Knicks have never been here. So I think the casual fans who come just for the finals and the 30 million who tune in for a Bulls, like they don't know Jalen Brunson yet.
Okay, but he may have a possibility because, you know, he to me is the closest to having perhaps a Steph Curry effect. And by the way, Steph,
come on.
But here's the thing, Steph, one sec. Steph, though, this didn't become a thing for years and years. It didn't automatically happen, you know, his first or second year in the league. He went through injuries. There was a lot that had to happen for him to become this transcendent star. But Steph did it. He broke through in a way that kids who were 3,000 miles away from the Bay Area were wearing his jersey. Obviously, LeBron was on another level. And I know this is an extremely high bar, but I kind of feel like that's where it has to be. And so far, these four stars, if we're going to call these four, Brunson, Halliburton, Shai, and Anthony Edwards, I don't think the country is embracing them the way that they have stars of the most recent past. And you're wondering, what's the league going to look like post-LeBron or post-Curry? Maybe one of these guys gets there, but they're not there now. I don't see the connective tissue with these stars and like the country at large.
Yeah, of course not. But I think that's ridiculous to even put Jalen Brunson in the same sentence with Steph Curry and LeBron James. To me, he's not anywhere near that level.
I'm saying, does he have a chance? Like
no,
to be
he's
that
20,
guy.
He's 28 already.
Well, could guys in Nashville or something just be a Brunson fan? Are you just, a city that doesn't have an NBA team?
But the guys you're talking about transcendent, generational, top 20 all-time players. And Brunson's good, maybe makes top 75 possible, but there's no ways. None of these, maybe Ant-Man, that's it, who could capture the imagination. SGA is an MVP caliber player. But Brunson, Steph Curry, and LeBron, no way.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like when Kevin Durant was still in Oklahoma City, and let's put Westbrook to the side and Harden, but when it was Durant and OKC, I remember walking around New York City seeing kids in Durant jerseys.
Yeah, he's Kevin Durant.
Is Shai.
Well,
Durant won an MVP.
No.
Shai's going to win an MVP.
Durant's a little different than even Shai, I think. I mean, Durant is all-time.
Shai is a possibility. We're still so young in his career.
I hear you.
People grabbed on. Now Durant since then has become an internet troll, and he's become
forget all the side stuff with Durant. Yeah,
he globbed on to a 73-win team. He turned off a lot of people. But I'm going back to before that. I'm going back to the Oklahoma City when he really put that franchise on the map. And so, I don't know, maybe you guys are Brunson fans, so it's a little bit different. Knicks fans on the other side of the glass. I get what he means in New York. And again, that will take you far. But I don't know. I don't see these four guys ascending to that level.
You know what I think needs to happen? I don't. Well, first of all, I do think it's early, right? We haven't seen these games get played.
That's true.
So to say, knock on wood, Halliburton doesn't hit some crazy three in MSG to win a Game 7, or Brunson doesn't hit some crazy three. Like, there are iconic moments still to be had.
That's true.
And then maybe their jump man moment hasn't come yet, so we have to see this. I do think with Brunson, it's going to be more New York insulated, but it will rise him to a different status, like Derek Jeter, for example. Like, Derek Jeter, a lot of times, wasn't the best player on the Yankees and is not the greatest Yankee.
But he's playing in October.
You're playing in October. If you're having big games, you're winning a bunch of titles. Yeah. And he had the handsomeness and the bachelor stuff happening, too.
Good-looking dude.
Yeah, a lot of things are happening for Derek Jeter. But I think and Brunson and his dad have talked about how they talked to Derek Jeter about what it takes to be that kind of leader. And I kind of wonder if the Knicks or any of these teams become what Perloff was talking about, this dynasty that we're looking for, maybe they become the villain. Maybe that's what you're looking for.
I mean, Jeter won 4 titles. I think it's early to even talk about that. It took a lot.
But Jeter was a star. But Jeter was a mega star. But it wasn't after the 4th one. We were like, you know what? This Derek Jeter guy,
no, it was right
he's
away.
Something. It was like immediately he was crowned.
Well, the flip play. I mean,
that's like what, 99, 2000.
I hear you, but it just feels like it doesn't feel like apples to apples with Jalen Brunson, Derek Jeter. Also, too, I think maybe New York was a different thing in 1998. I think it's maybe a little less relevant nationally now. I don't know why. Like, being a big star in New York might not mean the same thing in 2025. I mean,
the world's a little smaller, I guess.
I don't know. It's like you had LeBron go to Cleveland and make that the basketball capital of the world. It just doesn't feel what Jeter did is possible necessarily. And then Jeter also had a lot of different things going on. He was good looking and he was like a matinee idol. And where Brunson's Brunson's very settled and exactly. He's not, there's no, you can't use your
women are throwing their underwear at Jalen Brunson, but that's fine. Maybe, clutch player of the year, they will.
I think there's a couple guys
on his door.
Yeah.
Actually, remember Iggy Azalea? They got put together in some very weird post-game moment at MSG.
I do remember that.
I think it was a mistake.
I mean, it's got to be. I think there's one savior for the NBA. If you're looking for a star, it's got to be Wemby. I mean, he's the only guy. Like, none of these. Tyrese Halliburton is not going to be like. Do you remember the Tyrese Halliburton era of the NBA? That's not possible. Okay, but you need a singular superstar.
But then I ask you this question. We talked about this in other ways with Luka and other guys. The European-born guy being the face of the league.
Isn't he an exception because he's such a physical anomaly? I feel like kids are really obsessed with, watch him on YouTube. I mean, I think there are guys listen, my guy Zion Williamson is not nearly the player of all these guys, but when he's on the court, people all of a sudden ooh, what's that? Mm-hmm. I think there's got to be an ooh, what's that factor. You're not really getting that with SGA. You're like, oh, okay, here comes a 9-foot jumper. Because he just got a guy on skates.
Listen, and maybe let's just Shohei, I think, and along with Aaron Judge. But Shohei is the face of MLB, so I'm not saying that a foreign-born player cannot be the face of an American league. I'm not saying that by any stretch. But I wonder if there's anything that Wemby, is there a barrier at all? Because I thought Luka could be the face.
No, I think there's no barrier for Wembanyama. I think people are really interested because he's so different. I mean, the guy's 7'5" and has the skills of a guard. I hope he can hold up. But Shohei you're right, he's closer to Shohei. Normally, I think foreign-born players in MLB, I think that is a bit of a detriment, especially if you don't speak English like Shohei.
Right.
And
doesn't seem to hurt him.
He's such a fluke.
No,
the guy pitches, he hits. He's such an outlier that I think he's interesting.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So I guess what this boils down to is, are you feeling connected to any of these stars? Do you find yourself rooting for them? I have people in my personal life who have never been to Cleveland, right? And love LeBron.
Wow, LeBron. Okay.
Never been to the Bay Area, never seen a Steph Curry game. Love Steph Curry. Do you find that's happening with any of these players?
Is that a real question? I can't.
Or will it?
You're comparing them to LeBron. Yeah, I mean, that's like saying who's a better two-guard? Aaron Nesmith or Michael Jordan? What are we talking about here?
I do think, though, like I said earlier, I think it takes time, right? Because when Mike retired, there was a void. It wasn't like, we just immediately handed it to Kobe Bryant.
True.
There was, is it Vince Carter? Is it Tracy?
AI.
Is it AI?
Right.
Kobe had to win 3 titles
to
have
to
take
win
that. So I wonder if we're kind of in that mode. I think we're in is it Kobe? Is it T-Mac? Is it Vince Carter right now? We don't know.
In that sense, it's got to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he's the only guy with the potential dynasty here, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know. 888-710-4ISN.
I mean, dynasty, like
I don't know.
4 titles. Who else?
Where's Giannis going this offseason? Where's Giannis going this offseason? It's the NBA. A lot of things can change.
Yeah, it just feels like the other teams are older or just poorly designed. Like the T-Wolves aren't going anywhere.
Let's get to Bogusch and his update. What's up, Bogusch?
Oh, hey, guys. Good morning. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 20 second-half points, 31 total. Jalen Williams had 19. Chet Holmgren, 15. But it was Kenrich Williams getting plenty of post-game attention after Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
Kenrich Williams, 3. Got it! Big three-pointer, and the Thunder with their largest lead of the game.
Your coach has confidence in you. You will repay that confidence.
That's his first 3 of the playoffs.
Mike Breen, Richard Jefferson on ESPN last night. Williams hit all 3 shots he took in this one. He scored 8 points in 10 minutes in just his 5th appearance of the postseason.
Per 36 goes crazy with that one.
Head coach Mark Daigneault.
He hasn't played, significant minutes in games since the last game of the regular season was 5 weeks ago. And the amount of invisible work that it takes to keep yourself that sharp to be able to go in a playoff game like that in the Western Conference Finals and perform the way he did, the invisible work shows up there. That's unbelievable.
He was speaking into an invisible microphone. Williams in the middle of a second-half surge that turned a 4-point halftime hole into a 114-88 series opening win over the T-Wolves. Anthony Edwards took just 13 shots, scored just 18 points. His team committing 19 turnovers, leading to 31 Thunder points. The Knicks and Pacers go in to begin the Eastern Conference Final tonight. Hockey's East finale began last night in Carolina, a place where the Hurricanes were 5 for 5 this postseason. And, of course, the Panthers won 5-2, 31 saves for Sergei Bobrovsky.
Maggie, the Panthers are threatening your slump buster.
It's rough.
Year of the slump buster. I mean, who knows? They could get tripped up, but they look like a big threat.
Yeah, this would really be a dagger into my 2025 year of the slump buster.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah.
Is there any chance 2025 is the year of the early call based on this? Because
what, it's calling my shot too early?
Yeah.
That's every year, Bogusch.
There's no point of calling it if it's not going to be early. That's the only value in a call.
I guess, but one more person or team after Rory. If the Leafs had won the Stanley Cup, then you could go, okay, here we are. We're halfway through the year. We've got Rory ending a drought, and the Leafs ending.
The Leafs winning the cup. I'm not a miracle worker, man. I'm just a person talking about sports on the radio. I noticed a trend. I can't make magic happen.
Well, the Oilers could be.
The Oilers would
been a long
definitely
time.
work.
Yeah, Oilers and all of Canada.
Right.
I mean, if Canada wins a cup, I think it's on.
I think I should get the cup for a day.
Can you
like the winner does? If this
Canada
comes
wins
true.
the cup, you're done, right? You don't even need the other sports.
No, if Canada wins the cup, my prediction is game, set, match before we even get to July 4th.
Bogusch, you should be into this. This is all Maggie's either consciously or subconsciously trying to get the Mets to win a World Series. That's why she came up with this.
Also, if the Knicks win, I also get to game, set, match this thing.
You should take the Thunder as well because they were the Sonics who won in 78.
So
applies. I just think the merch opportunities is really what I'm going for here.
Right. Yeah, that part is a little dicey.
Slump Buster, Maggie Perloff version.
Slump Buster merch. That's a little dicey.
I've learned from Taylor Swift and Jordon Hudson that all you got to do is put Bill's version or Taylor's version or something after, and you can get around anything.
I'm just saying, as far as, is it going to be classy here? Is it going to be a little adult? Like, what is the Slump Buster t-shirt going to look like? I can't imagine that being politically correct.
Listen, we're in a post-PC era world. The rules are gone, guys.
All right, so if we're all in on the Slump Buster merch, I'm fine.
Hats, t-shirts.
Now in double XL.
Yeah, clown shoes.
I mean, it'd be kind of funny if it was like
Small
kids'
rags.
onesies. Indeed.
Kids, we can't put a kid's onesie saying Slump Buster.
But the kids' confirmation of the slump being busted.
No, it'd be a onesie. Future Slump Buster. That's really complimentary.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for all ages.
And I love that we can't do Drought Buster because it's trademarked by a lawn care company.
Oh, that's the one that's trademarked. I thought Slump Buster was.
No,
Slump Buster's free for us?
It's Drought Buster because of the lawn care stuff.
Yeah, it was. We shouldn't be talking about this on the air. We're just giving it away. But yeah, Slump Buster was like some kind of
She's got a T-shirt with a stencil of a large woman on it, of course. Because if anybody doesn't understand what we're saying here, slump buster is an old baseball thing where you date somebody who's unattractive to get out of a hitting slump.
Yeah.
You don't date them.
You
hang out for
wine
a
and dine them.
Yeah.
Or
we used to call that dating. I don't know.
Really?
That's a loose interpretation of date. Or you could be like Jason Giambi, wear a gold thong. I'm just saying 2025.
You've got options.
Year of the teams that haven't won in a long time.
Right.
Finally
Because
winning.
finally the Florida Gator basketball team broke through.
Mm-hmm. It counts, man. It's a huge part of my argument.
Yeah. The numbers are there.
They got a big commit yesterday, too.
I saw. Thank you for texting that to the thread.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Big time.
Oh, my God. The Boogie Flan thing.
Oh, big time.
Your favorite player.
Are we ever going to meet this guy?
You should. We got to make that happen.
He's like
you guys
a
talked about him
teenager,
so
right?
much that I saw he was in a mock draft at like 49th, and
That's why
then
he's
he
going
went
back to college.
I was like, wait a second.
He got hurt.
He'll make money in
Yeah.
Florida.
Oh,
He'll probably be first round pick next year. He got hurt this year, so.
We're still all in on Boogie.
Boogie with a capital G for future G leaguer.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's crazy to me.
He was going to be a second round pick this year. What do you think that is?
What part of he got hurt do you not understand?
Well, I mean, sometimes
NBA doesn't care. Like,
Yeah, but
they're
his
looking at him
hand
as a
didn't
prospect.
fall
What
off.
difference
He got
does it make?
hurt. He came back. He finished the year.
No, but like he's a freshman who didn't play a lot, and then he didn't get to show a lot. So
And
therefore
do you think the NBA cares about that? They'll draft a guy off his junior year of high school tape.
Oh, but he's a young player.
They could put rules
He's a
in to
guard.
stop that.
You got to see more from him.
Who was the guy that was his workout was against a chair and he got drafted second? I can't blank
Eddie
on his
Curry.
name. No. It was an international player.
Arjay Bargnani?
Darko?
No, I thought it was another tall, like Chinese player.
Wei
Oh,
Zhijing?
E. Lan.
It was, yeah, and he was doing posing moves on a chair. Like, we'll take you.
Right, but he's 7'1". Boogie 6'2". That's not going to work.
Against a chair.
Kalen Clark, 20.
I got to see that.
27 points and 11 assists, but a fever comeback came up short. A 91-90 home loss to the Atlanta Dream. NFL owners unanimously approved that idea of players playing flag football in the 2028 LA Olympics yesterday. Yes. Agreement still needed with the Players Association, flag football groups, and Olympic governing bodies. The league's plan includes extra insurance for players and salary cap credits for teams if a player gets hurt participating.
A programming note, Perloff and I will do a flag football draft later on in the show. We will draft our favorite players.
The Dodgers' longest home losing streak in 7 years is finally over.
2-1 to Muncy. Swings, hits a high drive to center field. This is going to do it. Tawa going back. He's going to make the catch. Ohtani tags. He will score, and the Dodgers walk it off for the fourth time this year. Max Muncy's sacrifice fly wins it for the Dodgers. 4-3 final score.
That's Tim Neverett, Dodgers Radio. LA scoring 3 times, bottom 10 to erase Corbin Carroll's 2-run homer in the top half of the frame. Again, they win 4-3. They had lost 4 straight at home. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you. More Bill Belichick rumors. We got that for you next, M&P.
What?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff. This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. So much to get to. We're asking today, Oklahoma City, is this team likable to you? Are you globbing on to OKC? Are any of the four major stars from the four NBA teams remaining really cutting through to the greater kind of sports public?
Yeah, I don't see this as, I think if you're the NBA and say you do want TV ratings, I know TV ratings aren't everything, but you would probably want New York in there. But generally, I said it yesterday, I just think this parity situation is tough because you're not, the casual fan who only watches the NBA Finals doesn't know any of these guys because they've never been to the finals. So at some point, it'd be nice to have a little dynasty.
How funny is it? They had a story yesterday about Julius Randle telling Draymond Green that, now after getting this far in the postseason and after last year was with the Knicks, but after last year going on a run, even though he was hurt for a lot of that, right? He said to Draymond, wow, the fact that you guys went to so many finals in such a short amount of time is like really amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you think LeBron was doing? He did that and they doubled it.
Yeah, I think Randall would say that to him.
I guess. It was just funny. He's like, he sought out Draymond Green to tell him what an incredible accomplishment this was. Like, LeBron's got to be sitting home like, what the hell? Went to 10 finals.
Yeah, he just finished, destroying Draymond Green, so he probably wanted to say something nice to him.
And I want my damn respect, too.
Mike is in Dallas. wants to talk hoops with us. What's going on, Mike? How are you?
Hey, can y'all hear me? I'm on my new AirPods since I've been playing Perloff's pick.
Fading Perloff?
No.
No, I'm playing his pick.
Oh,
you
okay.
can't hear me on my AirPods?
Sounds pretty good. You're crystal clear.
So, Thanksgiving, we're playing the Chiefs. That's going to be a W. Then
Dallas
after that, we
Cowboys.
got the Lions.
Okay.
W. To the Vikings.
Are those
we're gonna be
AirPods like
resting
just
for the
messing with your
playoffs.
brain?
We're going to be resting for the playoffs. You know, Dak's going to, take a knee or whatever. No, I don't know. I think we're going to go 16-0, but...
And Mike, I got to cut you off like a bartender. You've had too much.
Well, I mean,
The AirPods are scrambling your brain.
the problem that there's 17 games, too.
Well, you said 16-0, and then you dropped the last one because he said they're resting.
Oh, I thought we're going to, got it.
If a team goes 16-0, you think they're resting last week?
Probably not.
Can't do it.
The
Got to go for it.
Patriots, that year they were 16-0, probably should have done that because they looked a little tired by the end.
Yeah,
I think they played the Giants.
Yeah, and they gave the Giants confidence because the Giants played them well.
Yeah, they still beat them, obviously.
Yeah,
but it was a close game.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was a crazy game.
was
You
a
could
great
see
game.
the seeds of the Giants winning the Super Bowl. You're exactly right. That made them believe. I think the Patriots wore down that season. So now, are we actually talking about here? Should the Cowboys sit Dak Prescott if they're 16-0?
I'm here for it.
That is a wildly optimistic take.
Yeah,
from
I mean,
Mike.
things are looking a little bit up in Dallas, though. You have to admit, things are looking up. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But my question is, Perloff been on a heater, and I just didn't recognize that your gambling has been so. You've been on point. What are your big wins here?
So I've just been fading. I've been betting on the Knicks a lot because I'm like,
Smart.
if I'm gonna have to endure Manny and EJ, I'm at least going to get some money out of this.
This guy's been quiet.
I feel like we're not really doing much to you.
No.
Well, you were away last week, so you missed some of it. But Manny, I
True.
thought, was being pretty respectful.
Well, it doesn't
Not
matter.
too crazy.
The thing about Perloff that I still don't understand, because I don't relate to it, and I wonder if America relates to it, is I just don't root against my friends' teams.
It's a Philly thing, I think.
Unless like they're playing my team. I rooted for the Eagles. I kept saying we're all Eagles fans during the Super Bowl.
We were not.
Right. I don't get it. I would never root against the Bills unless they're playing the Jets. And they're a division rival. I don't have that hatred for the Bills.
Well, I don't think I'm the only one who does that.
I think it's a Philadelphia.
I do too.
I don't.
I think it's if you can't have something nice, you don't want anyone else to have anything nice. You don't want to see my team win. You've told me this.
Of course not. But you've told me 1,000 times you're rooting against the Eagles.
Well, you guys have already won so much. I've had to endure a lot of Philadelphia. Now we got the tush push.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
the whole
about.
debacle there.
I think it's more normal to root against your friends' teams. I think a lot of people do that. I don't think it's just me, and I don't think it's just Philadelphia.
But the Super Bowl, I definitely I'm like, oh, this is awesome. If Perloff, it'd be funny to drink your tears if you guys had lost the Super Bowl again to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I was happy for you when you won.
Really?
Sure.
I didn't feel the happiness coming from you.
Oh, you
I
were
felt a
in
little.
New Orleans.
Yeah, no, I felt a little of like, when am I going to win?
Well, I mean, there's always
You
a little
just won.
jealousy.
You
also
just
just
won
won in
18.
2017. You beat Tom Brady.
No, Maggie.
I get that way about everybody. Like when the Cubs won the World Series, I was like, dang.
So many people came up to me and said, "Hey, congratulations!"
Right.
And I'm like, "I didn't block anybody. I didn't hold a field goal attempt.
Because we have
I
good
did
hearts.
nothing.
Yeah,
I didn't do anything.
Right, but because we are happy for you that your team won. Just like I had people DMing me, like I had Angela DM me saying, "Congrats on the Knicks." Like, because you want to see your friends happy.
Right.
Perloff's the only person I know who looks at his friends and says, "I hope you're miserable."
No, actually, Perloff is actively fading the Eagles just as some kind of weird
Listen, we
airbag in case they lost.
We all know as sports fans, every little thing we do determines the outcome of it. Like where we stand, if we're in the kitchen, if we get a sandwich, if Maggie makes wings. That's how you win and lose games.
Maggie on the treadmill.
This is why
Maggie
I
on the
walked
treadmill.
on a treadmill for a whole season
Yeah.
and it did jack squat.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Felt like I spent my entire day yesterday talking about, reading about, watching salacious, tabloid-esque, and very just kind of, I would say, gossipy kind of stories. Pearl, welcome to the show, by the way. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. The gossipy, tabloidy stuff was this yet another Bill Belichick story that came out. This one, the New York Times, thousands and thousands of words. Some of the big stuff coming out that Jordon Hudson has told people that she and Bill are engaged, at least told one person that.
What?
They're engaged to be married. Also, a very kind of, I don't say this is a tawdry detail, but I feel now kind of weird reading these details. So she was definitely around the Patriots facility, right?
Right.
This relationship goes back to when Bill had the 4-13 season with the Patriots. Not only was she at the hotel before games, like Bill Belichick game planning to play Buffalo, Josh Allen, game planning to play against Lamar. I don't know if they played the Ravens that year, but game planning against some significant quarterbacks. And he's got Jordon Hudson at the hotel the night before the game. I'm shocked by that. And he asked her to wear, this is weird, he asked her to wear red pants to training camp so he could easily spot her in the crowd.
Okay.
How distracted was this guy? I mean, this is the singular focus Bill Belichick. So that part of it was like I felt you get a little ick on you reading some of this stuff about Belichick and Jordon Hudson. She's been like frozen out by the Nantucket social scene. All this stuff is getting really, really tabloidy. But then watching the Brett Favre documentary yesterday on Netflix, it's called The Fall of Favre. That also was so tabloidy, and just how a guy who, basically the theme of the doc there is, careful with the hero worship. Yeah. And, it's a good lesson for all of us, but that Favre kind of always had these, for as good as he was, he always had some demons and he always had some, just like obvious character flaws. And they showed before, when he got to the NFL, during his time at the NFL, at the highest of the highs, and now obviously the lowest of the lows with the Mississippi Welfare Fund scandal.
It's funny. I think maybe my memory of Brett Favre is colored by the recent news, but I don't remember us ever thinking Brett Favre was a good guy necessarily, but maybe we did. Was there, in the documentary, because he's always kind of like, I always thought of him as the picture of draft night wearing jorts, and he was the gunslinger. He was wild and loose. I didn't think of him as a arbiter of moral standards. So I was curious, did we hero worship him? I can't even remember.
So there are some great people in the documentary who covered the Packers while he was there would say even now with all the things that we know about him, sending the photos to Jen Sturger, denying it, denying the welfare fund, misappropriating those funds, which he hasn't been found guilty of anything, but there's some pretty damning text messages. He's still involved in a civil lawsuit. State of Mississippi is trying to claw back some of that money that they alleged he funneled towards a volleyball court to help his daughter at Southern Miss, and then also towards his charities so that he could pay back money that he lost investing in a controversial concussion spray. You spray up your nose that's supposed to help with concussions. The FDA is not approving it. They've lost a lot of money on it. Anyway, all that stuff still has to be adjudicated.
Okay. Oh, that old storyline.
Right. That old bag. But
what?
I think what they say is that even in Green Bay, he walks into a room now and people will go nuts.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So the idea that
you could surprise anyone?
Well, it's like, how much do you need to know about a guy before he gets knocked off a pedestal?
Come on, look around sports. Ray Lewis probably killed a guy, and he was the face of the NFL 8 years later.
Tyreek Hill's the MVP that next year.
Tyreek Hill's a superstar. I mean, you go down the list. I do think we are, as a sports nation, are accustomed to separating the man from the work.
Right, and it's kind of like
there were a lot worse guys than Brett Favre. Still, even with everything you just described, there are definitely worse guys.
That
we put on a pedestal.
Yeah, he definitely. I don't want to say like better or worse. He definitely certainly people think he destroyed their lives. And how they're all paying the price for it more than he does. Right, so he's the one who sent the pictures to Jen Sturger. Right, she never leaked those out. Those got hacked in and stolen from her. And her career was essentially over at that time of being a sports broadcaster. Brett Favre gets to go on, play for the Minnesota Vikings, get into the Hall of Fame, all those things where, she felt like she was discarded. Other people who feel like Brett really ruined their lives in a lot of ways, and he's paying the price maybe now, but even still, they show him in Congress. He's trying to defend himself in this welfare fund scandal. It's over, and people are asking him to sign autographs. It's just like, how far does it go, right?
That definitely can't surprise you.
I wasn't surprised by any of it, but it does kind of, you hold up a mirror and you're like, man, what do you buy into? And what does a guy have to do? And how much does he have to show you who he is before he stops getting the hero worship treatment? And Peter King is our friend, obviously, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. He has an interesting comment where he goes, I bet if you ask most Green Bay fans, they don't even want to know, right? Because Brett Favre, the person, is not who they're rooting for. They're rooting for Brett Favre, the football player.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what we do. I think, so there's so many interesting cases. Kobe Bryant, of course, when he passed, it was the third paragraph in was the civil suit in Colorado. Sure. I think that we can compartmentalize all of this, right? We have to as sports fans. So I'm not surprised. Of course, Brett Favre walks into a room in Wisconsin and is a god. In fact, the funny thing is, I feel like Brett Favre has kind of turned the tide a little bit. Now he's kind of a bit of not sympathetic figure, but I think he definitely took his bullets. Like a couple years ago, he was down. Feels like he's settled a little bit. Am I wrong about that? It felt like 2020 to 2023 were real bad years for Brett Favre, and now he's been out of the news a little bit.
Yeah, well, he's still in that civil suit with the state of Mississippi, so we'll see about that. But I don't know if he's gotten himself all the way back.
Not all the way back, but I just think that, this does happen. Guys fall, but then they sort of plateau and they're okay long run. Pete Rose, for example, I don't know. I'm just thinking of some of the creepier sports stars of all time.
Sure.
They, listen, there is almost nothing a sports star can't do and come back from to some extent, unless you're in prison.
Yeah,
OJ's probably the main example.
But even he was on Twitter.
Well, that's.
No, I'm saying you're right. I'm saying that's probably the one example.
Yeah,
well, it's funny because Michael Vick is also a talking head in this documentary. Is somebody who definitely came back, but I feel like
came back fast. Yeah,
but I feel like Vick really lived the apology. Brett Favre keeps denying. Vick went to prison, became a spokesperson for the ASPCA, all that stuff. Yeah, it's funny about Kobe, and not to make it about him. This is a Brett Favre documentary that's on Netflix right now. I thought it was the ultimate irony that Kobe had the situation in Colorado where he definitely, had to apologize to the victim and all of that, and became known as Girl Dad. And it's funny because people are not just one thing, right? And he could be this incredible father and also have this, these allegations against him.
Yeah, you could look at Mike Tyson. You could look at, in some ways, Tiger recovered his reputation.
And it went down a couple times.
Yeah, I don't think it was illegal like what Brett Favre did, but you guys can come. It's a country of second chances.
Yeah, I was going to say, America is a country that wants to come back. They want to celebrate you. Like, I know we kind of have this idea that it's cancel culture, and once you're canceled, you never come back. It's like almost everybody comes back.
Yeah, that's not true.
It's not true. Everyone comes back. They always still get their embrace. It's besides OJ and very, very few number of people, and a lot of those people, we would never want them back because of the things they've done and things that they've been accused of. But for most people, they want to come back. So I agree with Pearl. I think Brett Favre, I feel like he had some really rough years. I think he's found a lane with a certain crowd for sure over the last few years. Yeah. And I think that now it's a little more, I don't want to say 50-50, but I think, he has his folks who will never like him. I think he has his folks who say, you know what, I saw a lot of tweets yesterday because I was actually curious what Twitter thought of it, which who knows what you're going to see.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were like, oh, God, this is such a hit piece. Like this is stuff we already know. Like, get over it. Like, it was a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that out there. So I think Brett is in a different spot right now, and I think it is a testament to what America is, which is a place of second chances, like Perloff said.
Do you think Kanye could come back? Let's be realistic. I think he could.
Yeah.
I think even as insidious and disgusting as everything he's doing right now, I think people are wanting
praising Hitler, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think people almost want to see him come up with a new album, and some people like that song. I personally, he can't come back in my book, but I'll bet you he could come back in this country. It is, you can go really far down, and if show contrition, you can come back.
I don't think he's anywhere close to doing that, but I was thinking about it. If he dropped some kind of fire album that was not all about Hitler, geez, what are we doing?
Right.
If he did drop some sort of more like mainstream, would the radios be playing it?
In 5 to 10 years, time changes things too.
But you do have to show contrition. I think that's what's holding up Favre. He's still maintaining he didn't know where any of those welfare funds, Mississippi, one of the poorest, states in this country, And these are the poorest of the poor people who need this money, right? And he is maintaining he had no idea where any of these funds came from when there's text messages that says, hey, am I going to get in trouble for this? Is there any way the media is going to be able to find out where this money's coming from? I mean, it's not a smoking gun, but it's pretty close.
Well, let's be real. I mean, in my opinion, I look at Brett Favre's, his quote-unquote sins, so to speak, it's against a young woman and it's against poor people. These are not people in America that we normally protect. So I think that if Favre, if he went and murdered somebody, or if he went and did something that really impacts people that you normally do protect, maybe it'd be different. But I think people will look at that and they can kind of oversee those poor people in Mississippi, or a random woman that maybe they're not that familiar with, and say, okay, well, boys will be boys, and it's an unfortunate part of where we are, but I think it is a reality.
Yeah, that Jen Sturger is obviously in the doc, and she said people just saw me as a photo, and they saw him as a hero. And that was the difference. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Yeah, sports hero worship. And I know we do it too. Obviously, we glorify people.
It's so hard because we're only getting. Pro always said you cannot. And my dad always said the same thing. Like you don't know who these people are.
No.
We see them in these small windows, and we see their greatness on a football field, or on a basketball court, or on hockey ice, or baseball field. And you want to celebrate that. And when you do that, there's a connection you bring to that. Like Brett Favre. Like my brother's a Packers fan, so he grew up like Brett Favre was like his football idol. He's why he loves the Packers, right? And like. He's someone who's like, I'm done with him. Like I don't want anything to do with him. But I know so many of the other fans that he knows that love the Packers. Like they know that guy who was just picking up Donald Driver and running around the field like a kid. Like they
bringing the Packers back.
Yeah, they see those images of him smiling and running like he won a Super Bowl when it was just week 3. Like that stuff that he did like really endeared himself to people.
Yeah, I had a player who I grew up. Remember Steve Carlton, the great Hall of Fame pitcher? Turns out he was an anti-Semite and a conspiracy theorist and a total weirdo. I still have pleasant memories of him striking out like 11 Mets. Sorry.
It's amazing.
Deshaun Watson came to mind too. It was just the play was outstanding. He came off as an outstanding citizen too.
Absolutely.
We were all fooled by him. So the point, like, it's really, I do think you bring up a good point, EJ. Like, we really have to be careful. The guys we think are good guys and the guys we think are bad guys. And the funny thing, Michael Vick, during the dogfighting scandal, people would say, you'd be like, well, do you know Michael Vick? Like, he's a good dude.
Right.
Which
and it
was
felt
very
impossible.
Very confusing.
To be both things, right?
Yeah, very confusing. So people are complex. Yeah. I don't know if Brett Favre is, but people are.
I'm curious if Favre does come back, which would be ironic that it is a documentary about all the terror. It's the good things. It's his rise, but also obviously the fall, and just kind of the idea that the fall was never far away. It's not like a Deshaun Watson where people were like completely blindsided. Like, what? This guy has been harassing women and the volume of them. Nobody ever thought that Brett Favre was a choir boy.
But it's funny too. If Deshaun Watson came out and had 40 touchdowns, he'd be a big star again. He would be.
Yeah. I'm thinking, but I know ultimately you're right. Let's go to Jay. He's in Nashville. Jay, you want to talk about Perloff being self-loathing?
Fair.
We're here for it.
Oh, but I can't believe y'all ain't got Perloff yet, man. I mean, remember. You're mad because he's hating on your team and you're his friend, but this is the guy who hates on his own team. This is the same guy we had to make. I think y'all had a whole special of him tearing down that dumb poster he had behind him. I forget the quarterback's name. While Jalen Hurts was the quarterback, but he still had this dude right behind him on the wall. This guy comes from the same city that booed Santa Claus.
Yep.
He comes from the same city that would boo the Salvation Army dude for ringing the bell too loud, and then yell out and call him a freeloader because he's asking for donations for a good cause. This is the same dude from a city that is so insanely delusional they think Rocky's a real person. So what do? They build a Rocky statue. So, I mean, I don't know why you guys are acting so surprised, but...
Jay, you forget, we booed Mike Schmidt. We booed Mike Schmidt consistently. That guy's the greatest player we ever had.
Yeah,
that's Mike Schmidt. I'm talking about Santa Claus and Salvation Army.
Yeah,
you know,
little different. Jay, it's an A+ call.
Yeah.
All the way around. And the quarterback in question was Carson Wentz, who, while Jalen Hurts is leading the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl, Perloff had a blown-up, enlarged Sports Illustrated cover of Wentz on it in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform that so agitated everyone here at the Infinity Sports Network. We had to destroy it, and we did so for charity.
By the way, is Carson Wentz on a team?
I don't know.
Who the hell's laughing so loud?
That was a drop, I think.
Zach Gelb.
Yeah, but by the way, I'm a longtime supporter of Hurts. I thought Hurts was I was originally on Hurts over Wentz because Wentz was killing us. I will give you that, but I
know
think
you like to troll people.
You're right. I hated Allen Iverson.
You're a serial troller.
Like I got frustrated with Iverson, who was like amazing. I get frustrated with my own players. And even if the Eagles had lost the Super Bowl, I would have buried that team in Sirianni.
Remember we too when Saquon dropped the ball and he was like, "Oh, this guy, he's a loser. He's never going to win for us."
Was that in Atlanta?
Yeah. That was at home, but it was against Atlanta.
I'm still shocked that Saquon Barkley did what he did last year. I had no idea.
And by the way, Jay, thank you for the call. Perloff has already predicted that Barkley's going to have a down year this year because he's
science, man.
Gone through all the other
guys with that many carries,
close to 2,000 yards.
That makes sense though. I think
but you're already like guarding against the fact that you think he's going to let you down this year.
He's not going to let us down. We are in that sweet spot where there's no pressure on the Eagles this year. I feel like we got our ring.
How funny is it? Nick Sirianni had a press conference yesterday. I don't think we were going to bring this up today, but he had a press conference yesterday, and someone asked, "How long's your extension?" He signed a contract extension.
Yeah.
And the media said, "How long's the extension for?" Wouldn't tell anybody.
Oh, really?
It's like I don't want to say.
I did not.
And it's
Actually,
like,
I didn't know.
Why don't you want to say? He's like, I don't know. I just don't want to. I'm like, this guy's undefeated when it comes to being awkward in a press conference. Clearly doesn't matter. They won. But you asked me yesterday, what's more likely, Nick Sirianni fired in 3 years or Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I didn't ask you that. I actually argued. I argued it's more likely they'll get to the Hall of Fame than fired in 3 years. Yeah, Twitter did not agree with me.
Yeah, 79%. I put the poll up. Fired in 3 years.
But you realize he is fifth all time in the history of NFL in winning percentage. It's like him, Vince Lombardi, Don Shula, Nick Sirianni. Curly Lambeau's in there too.
It's not going to hold. Unless Howie Roseman keeps like pulling these rabbits out of hats, it's not going to hold.
I think there's something going on. I think he is secretly he's a secret genius behind. I think there's something going on with that guy that we just don't understand. Like when the cameras are off, he's like, okay, I put the goofy act out there. Now I'm going to be this Bill Belichick leader of the team. I think there's two Nick Siriannis. We're just not getting access to the behind the scenes one.
Man, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
Big Dom get an extension yet?
Dude, he got the podium at the White House.
Big Dom's an Eagle for life. He works in that building as long as he wants to.
He's the one who's really pulling the strings. We all know this.
Well, he's the one who knows where the bodies are buried because he probably put a few of them there. Okay, so he started with Brett Favre, and are you interested in a Brett Favre comeback if one is indeed in the works? 888-710-4ISN. Again, ironically, the movie's called the Fall of Favre, and if this ends up helping him somehow, would be the ultimate also hero worship of sports fans. They just laid out all the bad things he's done, and somehow this is going to usher in some sort of comeback.
I know. It's typical.
It's pure irony.
It's a sports cycle that is hard to explain. By the way, you just casually accused Big Dom of murder, and as an Eagles fan, we're like, yeah, he did. That's what you do. That's what you do for your team.
I implied. I don't think I accused.
No, it's fine. As an Eagles fan, yes. That's what we do to win football games. We murder people. Maybe the Bills ought to try burying a couple people in Lake Erie. Maybe that'll help get a ring.
Oh, my goodness.
What? This is Philadelphia Eagles football.
Careful what's chopped up in that cheesesteak.
Barbaric stuff, man.
This is South Philly. Man, there's a different set of rules down there.
Yeah, it's South Philly. If you're not threatening murder, are you even trying?
South Philly and Guantanamo Bay, same place. Same.
888-710-44ISN. Yeah, South Philly in one of the world's most notorious prisons. Same.
The Vet.
Actually,
smells the
that
same.
is one of the more well-known prisons. That prison underneath the stands at the vet it's not Guantanamo Bay. They should have said the
They
terrorists.
took some inspiration there.
They're like, where do we send the terrorists? Let's send them to the vet. See how they deal with that crowd.
I know the president's going to reopen Alcatraz. He should also reopen the vet prison.
Yeah, right.
Just build a stadium again just to build a prison.
Yeah, you have to sit there during a 4:00 Eastern
Yeah.
game with the crowd all liquored up and
Wearing a
Emmett
Giants
Smith jersey.
Yeah, wearing an Emmett jersey. That's your punishment.
That's your punishment. Then you can go. 888-710-4ISN. If you can survive that, you can survive anything.
People be like, send me back to maximum security prison. I don't want to be here.
I can't take any more of these Eagles fans.
It's too annoying.
Get me back to Cuba.
All right. Well, we have some business in front of us. Couple things. We are debuting a new segment today, which we're excited about. And also, when are we going to do that, EJ?
Maybe 7:40.
7:40 Eastern time. 20 minutes from now, we are debuting a new Maggie and Perloff segment. Also, we have some business. I hate the idea of NFL players playing in the Olympics, flag football. However, that has not stopped Perloff and I from doing a draft of what the best team would look like from all active players. So we will do that. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Flag football is coming to the Olympics. Very exciting. And the NFL, it looks like they are going to allow their players to participate, although some of the details of that are still to be TBD because it will be at the beginning of camp. But regardless, Mag, we need to put together our dream team for flag football. How should we do this?
All right, let's do it as a Maggie and Perloff draft. We're both going to try to draft the best flag football team that we can send to the Olympics. By the way, the owners approved this unanimously. They want this to happen. They don't care that the players may possibly get hurt. They want to grow the game internationally more than anything in the world. So it's 5 on 5. So 5 players. So we're going to start with 5. We'll see how we get.
Yeah,
from
let's
there.
stick to the rule. I think the rule is that you can only have one player from one team. Like you can't have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, for example.
Fine.
Okay.
Very good. You want to? I'll give you the number 1 pick.
Oh, okay. Well, number 1 pick is, I think, pretty obvious in this case. He was the number 2 pick in this year's draft, but this is 7-on-7 football. Who's the greatest 7-on-7 football player of all time? Travis Hunter.
Yep, I let you have that one. Because,
you were going to go Travis Hunter too?
Well, of course. I mean, if we're playing 2 ways here, he's like the one guy who can actually do this. He just won the Heisman.
He used to travel the country to play 7-on-7 in high school because he was so ridiculous.
That's pretty unreal.
And also he runs. I think they projected he would run a flat 4.3 Deion Sanders style.
I believe it. I kind of believe anything with Travis Hunter, to be honest.
Me too.
All right, so for my number 1 pick, I am going to go with one that does seem obvious to me as well, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, one of the fastest, most elusive quarterbacks, and I know he probably is not going to play both ways. I don't think you're putting him out there at DB. You could, but Lamar Jackson is going to be my number 1 pick for a flag football Olympic team.
Okay, this is where it gets really tricky. I like that. You could wait on quarterback because we're only going to have one quarterback. I'm actually going to go this. I thought all night about this night. Jamar Chase will be my second player because I'm putting him just a little bit above. I think we're looking at the same 2 or 3 receivers for this. I just feel like because of the age and the straight line speed, Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals will be my number 1 wide receiver.
Okay, so this is easy for me then. I'll take his biggest frenemy out there, which is Justin Jefferson. At the press conference yesterday, he's going to be the ambassador here. He says he wants to win an Olympic gold more than anything. If I was a Vikings fan, do you understand how big of a turnoff that would be? Maybe there's nothing that Justin Jefferson could do, very little, that would turn me off. You've had so much Super Bowl and playoff heartbreak. I can't stand it, but I do love Justin Jefferson as a player and as, in this role, he'd be fantastic.
Nobody judges wide receivers for wins and losses like quarterbacks, so he's fine. And he's the coolest. Okay. Justin Jefferson, then I'm going to double down on wide receiver. Yeah. I'm going Tyreek Hill. I know he's older, but when this whole story first came up a couple years ago that the NFL was going to get involved in flag football, everyone said, who is the ultimate flag football player? It's got to be Tyreek Hill. He's a human joystick, maybe the fastest wide receiver we've ever seen play at this level, who is good. I mean, there's been other track stars. I got to go with Hill.
That's fantastic. All right, I think I might end up going. I think I'm going to go to my running backs here because I want the first pick of the running backs.
Yep, makes sense.
I think
Peyton Hillis.
No. Bring him out of retirement.
Cam Scatterboo.
I'm going to go with Saquon. I'm going to take your guy.
Oh, that's a mistake.
Why?
Flag football. Who's
He's-
the shiftiest player and the fastest running back?
He's not shifty.
It's
He's the next Barry Sanders.
I'm running to the podium to put Jamar Gibbs in.
I have Jahmyr Gibbs here, but I actually was deciding between him and somebody else. But you're telling me Saquon's not elusive?
Not like Gibbs. Saquon's old. He's yesterday's news. This is
Old? All right.
Gibbs was born to play flag football. He's you put him running to video game music. So I'll take Gibbs as my next pick. You're up. Go Birds.
Okay, so I'm back up now. You know,
We haven't picked a defensive player yet.
I know.
too. I
Well,
wanna
that's what I'm
point
going
that
to do
out.
right now.
Well, you picked Travis Hunter.
Yeah, you did.
That's true.
That's half
Is he
a
playing
defensive
offense?
player.
I'm playing
defensive
primarily
or
a
all
wide
those?
receiver.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, I looked at him.
I think this one,
The older or the younger?
the older. No, the younger. I'm going to go with Surtain, the current Denver Bronco. Give me Surtain. I don't know how his hands are. Probably okay. So I think I could probably use him maybe on offense too if I needed to. Give me Patrick Surtain. That's my fourth pick.
Okay.
We're up in our last round here.
We're only going 5 deep.
Well, that's what the flag football is doing. 5 on 5. We can keep going, but
Yeah,
this is
I
our
mean,
main starters.
So 5 on 5 is a 10-man roster. Well, okay. Well, there are a lot of guys I want, but I got to get Micah Parsons on my team. He's talked a lot about flag football too. He was a dynamic high school running back, and who was it? Derrick Henry was making fun of him. He's like, "You were good at running back until you had to turn because you could just run straight." There's no more ferocious. Like you got to get. You're allowed to blitz, right? At some point, so you got to. Micah is incredibly fast. He's dying to play offense. He would just be the life of the party. I don't think you could do this Olympic team without Micah
the
Parsons.
life of the party.
I mean, he will be running the show on a media front. He'll be front and center. He'll be the spokesperson of this team. You need that guy. It's going to be Micah Parsons.
That poor Italian school teacher who's just dropping back to pass and he sees Michael Parsons pressuring him on the
Coming
blitz.
at 100 miles an hour. Yeah.
Plumbers and firemen, Manny?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
basically.
alleging the rest of the world is fielding their
Yes.
flag football teams?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not going to follow you there. I actually feel like there is someone left on the board that I really want, even though I'm going to be duplicating another position.
Okay.
I want Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I had him on my list. He's good.
All right, so I'm
Yeah.
going to forego pass rush in a flag football league to go with more offense, and I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson. That's going to be my fifth pick. Even though I already have Saquon, I'm still going to go with Bijan.
Yeah. Okay. Can we just go one more round?
All right, one more.
You need a possession receiver, right? I'm
Do
thinking
you?
about this. I think so.
I think it's all about speed. Okay.
Well, I want a tight end because they're impossible matchups. They are too big for the little guy, and they're too fast for the big guy. How is a school teacher going to cover Brock Bowers? Just tell me. No one in the NFL can cover him. He is the perfect tweener. I was looking at Kelsey's getting a little too old. I need a tight end on my team because you get what, 4 plays to get down the field. You need a mid-range play. Brock Bowers, boom, perfect. Oh, I didn't pick a quarterback yet, though. That's a problem. Well, Travis Hunter.
Let's go to 7. Let's go to round 7.
We
Yeah,
could
give you
still-
2 bench guys. So let's go to round 7. So you got Brock Burrows. We'll do one more. Then we'll get Bogusch in here.
I don't have a quarterback.
So Maggie, you're on your number. This is your number 6 pick.
This is my sixth pick. All right. Thank you.
Day 2.
I was going to go.
It's fine. We're winning anyway. You can pick even the worst player in the league. And they're
All
still
right,
gonna
Garrett
win.
Wilson.
Pick a kicker. Oh, Garrett Wilson would be sick. Skinny little Garrett Wilson.
I was gonna outthink myself here, but I'll go. Give me Garrett Wilson. That's gonna be my first guy off the bench.
Sebastian Janikowski's next. Right?
So last player probably.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think my team is at least going to be fun. You got to can you imagine Patrick Mahomes in this league? Throwing lefty, throwing no-lookers against poor Slovenian defensive backs. I'll go with Mahomes at quarterback. I wanted Lamar. Of course, that was a good pick by you, Maggie. He's
Thank
the
you.
ultimate flag football. But I'll take Mahomes as a consolation prize.
I am so surprised you didn't pick your guy,
Joe Burrow?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Well, yeah.
You don't want Jaden Daniels? I actually I wrote him down first. I was like, oh, duh, have Lamar. But Jaden Daniels was like the first person I thought of.
Wow, Jaden Daniels. Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes on a flag football
I
game?
don't know Patrick Mahomes doing anything. Patrick Mahomes playing ping pong, I'm sure, is amazing. Yeah, of course, but I don't know.
I did look at Jaden Daniels for the combo speed, but I just think if you want fun, we want to have fun here. I think, by the way, it will probably be Lamar and Mahomes, right? Or Burrow. Who's going to be the quarterbacks?
As long as it's not Josh Allen.
Yeah, I haven't heard. See, I didn't want him at all. I'm like, because this is not tackle football.
No,
so he can't run over anybody. So that's he's not perfect for
Different
this.
kind of skill set.
You get one more pick.
Okay, I am going to actually go with a pass rusher here. You've convinced me I do need somebody to blitz. And you said Micah Parsons. I'm actually going to go with a guy who has not played a snap yet in the NFL. Give me Abdul Carter.
Oh, I haven't bolded on my list. This guy runs a 40 that is crazy. Yeah, it's a perfect pick for flag football. Well, did you look at Myles Garrett, by the way, just to scare people?
Would he be good at flag? I mean, I'm sure.
He's about 6'5", 270, and runs a 4.4 40. I think that would be a problem for many of these countries.
Go down your team.
I'd like to, but I wasn't keeping track. Okay,
I have your team if you need me to.
Travis Hunter, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Jahmyr Gibbs, then
Parsons.
Micah Parsons, Brock Bowers, and Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, Patrick Surtain, Bijan Robinson, Garrett Wilson, and Abdul Carter.
Can I ask you one player? Did you have the Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton on your list?
No.
Because he kind of can do everything. So I felt like he's like the most versatile defensive player. He covers guys. He can hit. I looked at him. I just think he's kind of a cool player. It would have been fun.
Great player. Let's get to Bogusch, and you can weigh in on this at 888-710-4ISN. Your dream NFL flag football player is who? Bogusch, aren't you a flag football coach?
I mean, loosely. Babysitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Volunteer assistant.
What's the skill set? What's the most important skill set for flag football?
Like standing up and running.
For 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds?
Yeah, I don't think my 11U flag football 6-game experience qualifies me for this conversation in any way.
I mean, you're practically a GM.
I don't. You know what they say? Bogusch, Coughlin, all the same.
Yeah, I don't think there's a direct line from that to this.
Is Jake good? I bet you he's good.
Jake's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake's fine.
Some hesitation there. But
your
whatever.
voice went up a couple octaves. He's good.
I don't want to sit here and be the guy that glosses my son, but yeah, Jake can play.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, he's got Quinn Ewers for a dad. He's got the genes.
He just wish he was as big as me. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Small. Yeah. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Still a 4-point game in favor of the T-Wolves deep into the third quarter. And then
Shai to the foul line. Steps away, fires, fade away. 16-foot jumper. Ring it up. Gilgeous-Alexander's got 31 and taking over game 1. 96-84 Thunder, 4:45 to play.
Matt Pinto, Thunder Radio. SGA scoring 20 of his 31 in the second half as OKC ran away for the 114-88 rout.
They throw you a problem and you have to solve it, whatever it looks like. That's what it is every night, and that's what it was tonight. They had different coverages, different personnel out there, and we have to attack it and work together as a unit to solve the problems out there. And we did that tonight, especially in the second half.
And the Thunder defense held Julius Randle to 8 second-half points after 20 in the first. Anthony Edwards never got going, scoring just 18, including 0 in the final period. The Atlanta Dream hung on for a 91-90 win in Indiana last night. Caitlin Clark, 27 points and 11 assists in the Fever's first loss of this young season. The Aces got their first win, 87-62, at the Connecticut Sun. Asia Wilson, 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. NFL owners are not expected to approve the proposal for changing playoff seeding, at least according to the Washington Post. Now, teams would still qualify the same way, but then line up based on record only, so a bad division winner wouldn't be guaranteed a top 4 seed in a home game. The idea being this would make late season games even more important, but again, it doesn't appear to have enough support right now. The Florida Panthers are 1 win closer to their 3rd straight Stanley Cup final.
Bennett at the line, long shot, he scores! Sam Bennett, a long-distance shot from just inside the blue line. It's a power play goal. It made its way through the traffic, and the Panthers have a 4-1 lead.
On Panthers Radio, Florida, a 5-2 win in Carolina to start the Eastern Conference final. The Stars and Oilers play the first game out west tonight. Another day, another loss for the Orioles.
1-0 Crew, the 1-0. Drilled deep to right field, and this one, you can kiss it goodbye, second deck. Well, near miss 2 innings ago. No mistake that time for Sal Frelick. 2-run home run. Brewers have gone deep twice against McDermott. Lead the game 3-0 in the 4th.
That's from Brewers Radio. Baltimore falling in Milwaukee 5-2, extending their skid to 8. They are 0-4 since manager Brandon Hyde was fired.
Yeah, clearly he was the problem. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up next, we are debuting a brand new segment next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Manny discovers Aerosmith. Love going on this music journey with Manny. He's a young person, discovers music from before the year 2000.
This is the song that they're using the promos for the NBA playoffs. They're using this song. This is how I discovered Aerosmith.
Wow.
Really? Curious why this song? Just because
it rocks?
Yeah. Is there any connection to any of the teams?
Because the NBA brings you some sweet emotion.
See, I would think AC/DC and Thunder would be Oklahoma
They play
City
that
Thunder.
in
Yeah, they play, yeah.
Yeah, they play, I think, almost every stoppage.
And Minnesota, you go with a lot of Prince songs.
Sure.
Got any New York artists?
Yeah,
Never heard of any
New
of
York.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think they make music over there.
What's the big Indiana artist?
Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
He makes music now?
Who does McAfee listen to, whoever that is?
No, come on. Michael Jackson's from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, it's near Chicago.
Yeah, but Gary is, that's by Chicago.
Oh, all right.
And also, too, I don't know if that's really where you want to go now.
All right. I mean, I don't know. Art from the
Is
artist.
Indiana, is that more of a country scene in Indiana? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think we're missing someone big. Jim Irsay's got like every famous person's guitar, right?
Well, yeah, he's a big
Did he play
classical
him?
rock guy. Peyton Manning was good friends with, he's in a commercial with Brad Paisley.
Have them perform, yeah.
There's got to be somebody. All right.
We're missing someone big. There has to be a huge star from Indianapolis. Music star.
Music star?
I think they might be a blind spot there.
No, I think it's our blind spot, not America's
I
blind
feel
spot.
like we got Magic. I mean, Michael, sorry.
Yeah, I think he's probably getting
Gary,
played.
Indiana?
Gary, Indiana's basically Chicago.
What do you mean?
Is it
Indiana.
like right over the river from Chicago? Like,
It's like right on the border with Chicago and Illinois.
All right, but like,
Indiana.
is Bruce Springsteen a New York artist? No.
Yeah,
It's
kind
New
of.
Jersey.
No, what? He's in Jersey.
Hold on.
Is
But,
John
I
Bon
mean, come
Jovi a
on.
New York artist?
Kind of, yeah.
You guys are bugging.
Wait, who's the last one you said?
John Bon Jovi?
No, he's Jersey.
Well, yeah,
All
but
right,
Jersey's part
guys,
of New York.
Very simple.
But you got one?
very simple.
I'm actually mad I forgot this one. There is one that's obvious. Only because I watch Parks and Rec.
Oh, I'm not seeing that one. Who is
Aziz
it?
Ansari?
Babyface.
Yeah, well, okay. I say Babyface is the first one that came up. And apparently Axl Rose is from Indianapolis.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, Guns N' Roses is in Indy. What are you talking about?
Well, Guns N' Roses LA band, but I don't know. Okay, that aside, it's time for us to debut a new segment we're very excited about. Perloff has not heard this yet. Let's go.
He's calling the plays, but she's calling the shots. It's time for As the Tar Heel Turns.
Thank you, Paul
That's very
Arzuman.
funny.
And this is going to be our daily Bill Belichick gossip update. It's basically turned into a Hallmark movie rom-com with a little football on the side. So as the Tar Heel turns, we got some big stuff yesterday, Pearl, as far as Bill Belichick gossip. Number one, that Jordon Hudson and his relationship going all the way back to his Patriots days. She's staying in the team hotel the night before games. She's wearing red pants at his request so that he can easily spot her in the crowd at training camp. I'm like, what is this? Like high school puppy love? I don't know. Anyway, more gossip. And this one was actually not in the New York Times article. This is some other eagle-eye people who have noticed that Bill Belichick's boat got a brand new paint job. Bill Belichick has a boat in Nantucket that he's called 8 Rings. And it's ever since he's been adding Super Bowl rings, the number has been changing. The vessel has been called 8 Rings. It's
Counting
like
the Giants ones.
Yeah, Roman numerals like VIII Rings. Now it has got a new paint job. 1 plus 8 rings. 1 plus 8 rings. That's what it looks like.
We heard you. What the heck does it mean?
EJ kind of looks like puzzled, so I was like, maybe I should say it again.
No, what does it mean?
Well, speculation. either it's an engagement ring that Belichick gave to Jordon Hudson. She told at least one person that they're married.
Right.
Or get engaged, rather.
What?
Or she won a cheerleading championship when she was a cheerleader at Bridgewater State. You get rings for that. So her championship cheerleading ring could be the 1+8.
That doesn't sound right.
I'm just telling you what I'm getting from the internet.
All right.
Or maybe just she's his +1. Like, could it just be like one person plus 8 rings? Like he got 8 rings and then he got the girl.
So maybe it's more than an allusion to the engagement ring.
Doesn't
I don't know if it's an engagement.
Been married.
I don't think it's about the engagement. I think it's just about
her.
Yeah, she's the other prize. Just like the 8 rings were the prize, now Jordan's the prize.
Well, what about his first wife or his longtime partner? Were they not the prize, dude? Like, why does she
Clearly
get the
not.
1+?
Was he doing airplanes with them on the beach? I don't think
Does he
so,
have
Perloff.
3 kids with? Does he have 3 kids? I mean, he was married to his first wife for a long time, right?
Right, no, but I'm saying this is
She
now.
probably can't stand him.
He's not going to put his ex-wives on there. What do you mean?
Well, wait, but he dated this other woman forever and never put her on
She never
the
got the boat treatment.
Again, was she doing the airplanes with Linda?
He was not.
Was Linda
doing
walking
a
around?
lot of awkward photo shoots.
I know,
with
but Linda wasn't walking around the practice field with a midriff on. Like,
No.
this is different.
White high go-go boots. Another piece of gossip, and again, this is our new segment as the Tar Heel turns, a little Bill Belichick soap opera stuff. Apparently, there was a dust-up between Jordan and Linda. Happened in Nantucket in a fancy event, and Linda went up to her on the dance floor and told her to get out. And there was an incident. So that's being reported now by Page 6, the New York Post. There was an incident. Jordan was on the dance floor. Linda went up to her and said, get out. And she was like, make me. And it got written up in some kind of incident report.
I think Linda can take Jordan.
I said, you don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly.
That was actually live footage from Jordan and Linda.
I got Linda. I think I got Linda in a TKO.
You know what annoys me?
Got that middle-aged woman strength.
Young people don't know how to fight like that.
You know what annoys me about this whole thing?
What's that?
I just really, now all this makes me hate the story even more. But I want to see UNC be bad at football so bad, but their schedule is so ridiculous. Like, even if Bill Belichick didn't even know which direction the football was supposed to go, he could win 6 games here. Like, I want to see this all explode to be really bad. Doesn't everybody, or no?
I mean, we were talking about redemption stories in sports. Bill, obviously, I don't think we're that bad here. This has just been some embarrassing PR, but I think he's actually going to be pretty good, and all this Jordon Hudson stuff is going to go away.
Pretty good at what? Like
winning football games and doing what he's always been good at.
In the ACC, he'll probably like every ACC team, win a bunch of games and get shellacked in the first round of the playoff. But is that even prove anything?
I mean, North Carolina making a college football playoff would be a damn big deal. You've said it. They're not a sleeping giant. People don't
if
believe
Belichick wasn't there, it would not be a big deal. It'd be basically SMU this year or Indiana this year. It'd be is that big a deal?
I think it was a big deal for SMU. We've talked about they've got deep pockets. Is this maybe now the changing of the guard a little bit in college football? We talked a lot about SMU. And now they got beat pretty badly because they had to go to Penn State.
This is the problem with college football. You can have an Indiana Hoosiers team who just gets the right draw, and that's what North Carolina has this year. Although I would almost reconfigure these. I'm looking at their schedule. This conference is your conference, EJ, is so awful. They have one top 20 team.
Have you heard Dabo Swinney went into the transfer portal and got 4 players?
One top 20 team for a major conference? What's going on?
Miami's top 20. No, there's at least 2. Clemson and Miami.
What's Miami?
They should be in the top 20.
It's Wednesday, which means a great debate.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Thunder take a 1-0 lead. The league deciding on the tush push. Lots going on today. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But on Wednesdays, Pearl, everything stops. And we turn our attention to the great debate.
The Great Debate Series.
All right, let's jump right into it. We always take something loosely based off of the news. And so we are thinking a lot about the NBA playoffs. And eventually someone's going to be crowned an NBA champion. And with the 4 superstars that are left, These are all going to be first-timers. Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards. One of these guys is going to be a first-time champion, and 3 others are going to be left wanting and waiting till next season. So our question today, who is the greatest player to never win an NBA title?
I feel like actually the hook is Patrick Ewing and the former Knicks are in the news a lot, and they were one of the teams you couldn't get past Jordan. So if I'll jump in, can I start this?
Of course.
I think to do this debate the right way, it has to be somebody who is boxed out of a title by Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan was so transcendent that there are plenty of players who were championship worthy who did not get their ring. It was a weird anomaly in NBA history. Maybe happened a little bit with Bill Russell's Celtics too. But so for me, I went through that list, and the top guy for me out of that is Charles Barkley.
It's his game to win. Here we go to overtime. Barkley, 20-footer, yes, with 1.8 seconds. Charles Barkley.
So I actually use as a metric, ESPN in 2022 ranked the 75th anniversary team 1-75. And Charles Barkley was the second highest player on that list at 22 to not have a ring. There's only one player higher. I won't tell you who it is, because someone else picked them. But for me, Barkley clearly would have won an NBA title. He was great enough to do that. It's just he ran into Michael Jordan, who particularly gave him a hard time. Of course, with the Phoenix Suns in the finals and also in the Eastern Conference playoffs when he was a Sixer. Barkley, all-time player, no ring.
What did he average in shot? A triple single?
Well, the other thing, too, about Barkley is he's in our living room every night.
He's an idiot and a fool.
So we're constantly getting reminded, specifically on that TNT set by Shaq and Kenny, about how he has no rings when they rib him all the time.
But the funny thing is, some of that humor, yeah, that's very true, but some of that humor takes away from how great a player he was at times. He was, for a guy who was probably 6'4", there was no rebounder. Dennis Rodman was like him, but Charles also had the offense. He was such a crazy rebounder. Like, there's nobody like Charles Barkley. Then he developed a three-point shot, for better or worse. And, yeah, I admit, the character helps.
We're going to send it to Galveston with that dirty-ass water.
Okay. Greatest NBA player to never win a championship. I'm actually going to go to your hometown, Pearl. And I'm surprised you didn't pick this guy even over Barkley. But, you know, sometimes you tend to hate your own superstars in Philadelphia. I don't know why.
Well, Barkley was a superstar, but go ahead.
The greatest player to never win an NBA championship is Allen Iverson.
Bothered by Lewis. Iverson. How about that? Steps over Teron Lewis.
7 straight points by Iverson. Looked like he was dead in the water.
Allen Iverson makes it 103.99.
Okay, the reason why I'm going with Iverson over Barkley, you're saying Barkley was undersized. Well, haha. Yeah. Allen Iverson, barely 6 feet tall and 165 pounds. And he was one of the fastest players I've ever seen in my entire life, fearless player. And his run to the final was so historic because outside of Dikembe Mutombo, may he rest in peace, that was a not good team. That was not a good team. Charles Barkley played alongside some really great players, but I'm sorry. Theo Ratliff, Eric Snow, George Lynch, Aaron McKee.
These are my guys.
These are not household names outside of Philadelphia.
The Ratliff sons are playing for Stepanak. I call their games.
Amazing. That's fantastic.
That's Theo Ratliff's kids?
Yeah, bro.
Let's not lose sight of this, guys. We're talking about Allen Iverson right
now.
Well, you can't really tell the story of Allen Iverson without Theo Ratliff.
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
But you're giving me that run to the late. That was when the Eastern Conference was just a setup for the Lakers to tee off on in the finals.
He was playing with a bunch of guys who are not remembered in any legitimate way outside of Mutombo, who's a Hall of Famer. And to me, how Iverson dragged that team to the finals and won an MVP with his size and stature, his fearlessness. And by the way, that was a tough time in the NBA. You know, this is not like today. He played in an era where still you could be super physical. He was kind of like, you know, bordered 2 eras of the NBA in that way. Allen Iverson, to me, the size, the hustle, the heart, he is the greatest player to never win a title. EJ, go ahead.
All right, awesome picks all around, and this is always a tough one for me, especially with basketball, because I say, do I go with my nostalgia, the guys I grew up with, because I would love to pick an Allen Iverson or a Nick, or do I go with historical? Do I do EJ basketball nerd? I'm going to do nerd here because I'm going to go way past my time to talk about a player who is one of the greatest players of all time that I think for some reason we actually forget that he didn't win the title. That is Mr. Elgin Baylor.
Naturally, I think I excelled in some areas more so than others. As far as the hang time, that's nothing you work on. It's just something that comes naturally. The only thing you can do is try to create different shots from different positions. Once you get in the air, that's a gift from God. You either have it or you don't. It's not something that you're just going to develop all of a sudden.
Wow, this is so nerdy you didn't pick a highlight.
Well, I mean, look, it was hard to find highlights, right? Most people don't have like Chick Hearn doing games in the mid-60s. But no, I picked Elgin Baylor. So you're talking about a Hall of Famer, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA player. At one point, he averaged 38 points and 18 rebounds in a season. He also averaged 34 and 19 rebounds in a season. He did all this, by the way, at the height of 6'5". So Elgin Baylor was in many ways a pioneer. You saw him talking about his hang time and his leaping ability. He was kind of like the original. He was the 1.0 version of what then became Dr. J, or really Connie Hawkins, then Dr. J, then Michael, then Kobe, then LeBron. Like Elgin Baylor really was the original guy that was like this transcendent wing player. So I'm going to go with Elgin Baylor as my pick for the greatest player to ever win a title.
What about the argument that he's got a ring?
In what way?
He was on the team. He started the season on a team that won a championship.
Yeah, but then he retired mid-season. I don't think that time they were giving them rings, though, because they don't recognize him as a champion.
Gotcha.
If he didn't play in the playoffs.
But he played that season.
Right, but he played 9 games, and it was the beginning of the year.
Great debate is. Yeah, I mean, that's a ring.
He's not recognized as an NBA champion.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't recognize if you're on the team?
Recognize him as a champion.
I recognize him.
Does he have an actual physical ring?
I don't think he does.
Yeah, they gave him a ring.
They did?
Yeah, I'm almost sure of it. I remember that was a big deal.
Huh. All right,
But
let's table that for now.
It's a great debate. It's a competitive thing, EJ. You got to pull out whatever you can.
Manny, the greatest NBA player to never win a title. Who you got?
I'll take the low-hanging fruit. And like Perloff said, if you're going to win this debate, you got to pick somebody who was denied by MJ.
The Pacers are expecting some kind of pick-and-roll play here between Starks and Ewing. Well, Ewing with the pick. Here's Starks. John Starks with the drive. Ewing puts it down. And the Knicks by 1. 26 seconds to go.
11-time All-Star Patrick Ewing. First-team All-NBA, 86 Rookie of the Year. Again, just denied over and over and over again by Michael Jordan. Everybody else in the Eastern Conference never won a ring. I'll take the low-hanging fruit, be the homer. Patrick Ewing.
Bogusch finished the circle here.
Well, since I can't take Ewing, I guess I'll take
Miller for 3, and he got it. Reggie Miller with a clutch tray, and it's 105-102. And a steal. Miller retreats to the three-point line and hits again. Tie game.
You want Jordan victims. I got you, Reggie Miller. All those points, all those threes in the Hall of Fame. 75th anniversary team. And then we're talking about playoffs as clutch as it gets. I give you Reggie Miller, the best NBA player without a ring.
That's insane.
Trolling our Knicks fans here
worth
proudly.
It, you might not win this one, but worth it.
I don't know if EJ's going to put you on the poll, but you're on the poll in our hearts for this one. 888-710-4ISN. You think it's funny when we asked this question yesterday, it seems like everyone's got their gut reaction when you say greatest NBA player to never win.
One name comes to mind.
One name comes to mind, but there is not one guy because there's someone really significant who did not make our top 5.
Who's that?
Karl Malone.
Well, it's Malone. Yeah, but Barkley, Malone, Ewing, I think are all clumped together. Those are the guys.
The Jordan victims.
Yeah. I mean, I think Manny and I were circling around Karl Malone. I looked at Karl Malone.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I think we all did.
I think Reggie was a surprise. I thought he was going Karl Malone.
That's a lot of points. For
actually, the controversial name I wanted to put on, but I thought it would break the rules, was Kevin Durant, because bus riders count.
Yeah, you put that in the text, and I was like, I guess that's a Kevin Durant.
I mean, yes, technically he won a title,
and
but
2 finals MVPs.
Did he really? Oh, yeah, that. He was along for the ride, yeah.
I mean, there are some guys who are playing now who may get in this debate.
Yeah, who do you think?
I mean, you hate James Harden, not hate him personally, but how he plays. I think there are a lot of people who are going to look at him, the numbers. He's one of the great offensive players of this generation, and but he's just been so bad in closeout games and all of that stuff. But I think he could be on a list.
We waiting on you, fool.
And what about Russ?
Russ as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, also, wait, you can't forget Alan Crabb and what?
Love it.
It feels like you're bad at NBA comparisons right now.
I'm just saying, James Harden, your great players who never won a title. All the guys we named didn't win a title, not to their own fault. Someone great got in their way. James Harden systematically will never win a title because of the way he plays. Like
well,
eventually,
you could have said Steph Curry got in his way.
Yeah, exactly. The Warriors got in his way.
Yeah.
He would have choked in Game 7 against anyone or in the next series. You guys totally overrate James Harden.
It's not overrating him. You think he should be in the G League. That's the difference.
Perhaps you're underrating
You think
him.
he should a great player who never won a title? He was never winning an NBA title. Neither was Russell Westbrook, for that matter.
Again, I mean...
He might have been along for the ride, maybe as like an eighth man. Those guys...
Both those guys are better than Reggie Miller. It's not even close.
I don't think so.
Harden
Okay.
definitely is.
Okay.
No, Reggie was awesome. Reggie just played team ball.
Reggie Miller never made an All-NBA first team.
Go ahead, EJ.
Like, what are we doing here?
James Harden, you know where the ball is at all times.
Okay.
You could beat James Harden. Trust me. Me and
And
Doc
you could beat
Rivers
Reggie
have
Miller. They beat him for
written
20
many
years.
words on
What are you talking about?
Reggie was awesome. Like,
Right, and
Reggie
didn't
was
win
a
the title.
killer.
How are you going to...
Because of Jordan.
No, but okay, but so he had to go against Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. So what?
And LeBron if he had gotten through them.
Right, yeah. What do you mean?
I think you guys are way overrating James Harden.
And then Reggie Miller, then he couldn't beat Kobe and Shaq. Then he couldn't beat Allen Houston and Spree. He had other opportunities besides
He couldn't beat the Nets either, right?
Didn't beat the Nets and then didn't beat the Pistons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One thing I'll say about Reggie, I also agree. I think that Reggie...
What are you doing over there, Bogusch?
I think that Bogusch like, good point, even though it's his pick. We're asking the greatest NBA player who never won a title. But the thing about Reggie, I picked Allen Iverson, and I think Allen Iverson is to the extreme that he didn't have a great team around him outside of Mutombo. But Reggie also, look a little bit closely. I mean, big Rick Spitz fans around, and he was great, but, a couple Davises, Dale and others.
Antonio. Pick one of them, man.
Though they were both there, weren't they?
Yeah, Mark Jackson, yeah.
I mean, Mark Jackson was on the all-time assists. He's up there in the all-time assists, but no one believes Mark Jackson was one of great
Reggie,
player.
Yeah, I mean, I think Reggie was a great player. I really think, I'm a Knicks fan, we all know he was a great player. I just think that his performances against the Knicks have elevated him to a level when you look at his stats and his resume,
right.
don't match up to Karl Malone. Don't match up to some of these guys.
I think
it doesn't match up to
I
James
totally
Harden.
agree, but I think Reggie Miller's stats are a little deceiving because he shared the ball a lot. Like he's like, I'm going to give Detlef his time. I'm going to give Sam Perkins outside. Like he was definitely a team player.
That's why he ain't got no rings.
I also think to his credit, I think he was also like a prisoner of his time.
Yeah, they didn't do it that way.
I played in today's game, like
100%,
he would be encouraged to take more threes, and like he would have scored more points.
How many threes is he averaging a game, Reggie Miller, in today's game?
No, I mean
12,
I don't think Reggie Miller belongs.
The most he averaged in a season was 6. Like he probably averaged 12 in today's NBA.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Today's great debate, the greatest NBA player to never win a title. Sounds like an easy question. The other person we did not put in here, Dominique.
Wow.
Dominique is an amazing player. He's your kind of player, too. You love dunkers.
I mean, he's
you
the
love
most
great
entertaining player.
in-game dunkers.
He's the most entertaining player. He was not that close to winning.
Immediate disdain out of Perloff after you said that.
Yeah, that's my era. Like I just don't think Nick was
Epic
going to win a
series
title.
against the Celtics could have gone either way.
Nick was awesome.
Yeah, he was totally awesome, but like they weren't even close. He wasn't that kind of player. He wasn't that good a shooter.
888-710-4ISN. I mean, that was always the criticism of Dr. J, but obviously he won. 888-710-4476. Okay, tell us what you think. The greatest NBA star to never win a title. We also have lots more for you, including Joe Burrow with a weird criticism of the league. Gonna be honest. Sounds like whining to me. Get to that next.
I got this bracelet from a guy in the steam room.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. I think I stumbled onto something here. It's Great Debate Wednesday. Best NBA player not to win a title. I've been going off this ESPN ranking the top 75 players of all time from 2022. They have Reggie Miller 51 and James Harden 50. I think they are about the same. I know James Harden numbers are crazy better and he's got the MVPs, but Reggie was super clutch where James Harden is not. And I put it out on Twitter, who do you got? And the first answer, Tom from Tampa, Reggie Miller. And then a lot of other players named, but Reggie Miller is a legitimate choice here, I think.
We are asking you, who is the greatest NBA player to never win a title? You can call us up at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. While we were we were playing that music for one reason. But, Manny, can you cue it back up just to make sure that we get the full extent and the full impact of why we were playing? Yes. Na, 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 na. Diana Rossini. Hours away from the owners' vote surrounding the future of the Tush Push. I'm told both the league's competition and players' health and safety committees have voted to ban the play. Despite the Eagles' best effort, the Tush Push is likely on its way out. Sources say, goodbye, Tush Push. See you never.
NFL's making a mistake here. You are much like when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. You're waking up a giant.
Oh, God. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. No, nothing like that.
There's a famous line in the movie about that where the Japanese general says, I fear we just woke up a giant. The Eagles needed bulletin board material. Thank you. Here we go. Thank you, America.
No.
Ban the Tush Push. You're going to end up paying the price.
How about instead of saying this just woke up a sleeping giant, how about this is the secret sauce for the Philadelphia Eagles? This was something that gave them a mental edge where they believed they had something that was an unstoppable play that no one else could figure out. And basically, this is Superman's cape getting ripped off. You don't have it anymore. And how about the psychological damage it does to your team when you no longer can execute the unstoppable play? Because now you're just QB sneaking like everyone else.
Which works at almost the same exact percentage.
Yeah,
That's
like
why.
88% of the time.
Yeah, compared to 92%. I would just say awake at a sleeping giant. Russell Wilson's very old, so he's probably napping. So there probably also has to awake at a sleeping giant and tell him to tush. Anyway, try to get
joke.
Manny.
Yeah.
Try to rib Manny. No, this doesn't really concern me at all from a football standpoint. And you know why? It's because of you.
That.
It's your fault, Maggie. You've been saying, I mean, is the tush push really that big a deal? QB sneaks work all the time anyway. Tom Brady was at the same percentage. So it's not as automatic, but I still think also there are forms of it. I'm sure you can sneak in a little bump.
I'm telling you, I want to see Perloff's reaction the first time we get a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts is in shotgun. You're going to freak out.
Can we get a live camera of that? Can we stream that or something? We got to make that happen.
First of all, it's the dumbest thing in the world when any team does it, but it's an epidemic in the NFL. But when Jalen Hurts is in shotgun on 3rd and 1, I just want to be there to see Perloff's face melt.
Normally, I hate that, but can you imagine being a lineman having Jalen Hurts running out of shotgun at you? Those giant
come
quads.
On. It's not college football. It's a terrible idea. No one should ever do it.
Giad Campbell, the new rookie who's going to terrorize the NFL. Oh, my God. The Eagles are going to be good next year. I can't wait.
It looks like the tush push is on its way out. We'll get back to that in just a moment. That's according to Diana Rossini and her sources. Okay, let's get back to our great debate. Crushed. The greatest NBA player to never win a title. Sean's in Oregon. Sean, good morning, sir.
Good morning, you guys. I got to put the mailman up there. I mean, the mailman, he's got 50% more points than Charles Barkley or Allen Iverson. He's got twice as many MVPs. And this guy, I watched him get stopped by a lot of guys. You know, he had to deal with the Lakers. He had to deal with the Blazers. He is a small market team dealing with a lot of big dogs. And then with the year he did make the championship, he beat the Houston Rockets in 6 games in the Western Conference Finals. They had Hakeem, Charles Barkley, and Clyde Drexler.
Yep.
It was a big deal, you guys. And I really think he should have won that championship. And I think they NBA probably wanted to see the small market team win and wanted to keep Michael Jordan looking as the best player.
Listen, he tried to poison him.
Right.
He tried to poison Jordan with a pizza, what we learned in The Last Dance. Couldn't do it.
Well, I think Sean's saying the NBA helped Chicago get through. But but Sean, then why'd they put San Antonio in right after Chicago?
Why they put San Antonio in right after? Well, that's because Jordan took off for a while. San Antonio.
I'm saying they do like small markets because they have a lot of NBA champions. But I hear what you're saying. Karl Malone, I think, was on all our lists, Sean, just to be fair.
Definitely. I mean, the statistical profile, playing in the West, 2-time MVP, right, Malone?
Yes.
I mean,
3rd all-time scorer.
Of course. Yeah, the statistical profile is there. He could easily. Now, why I picked Allen Iverson is because Iverson was overcoming a physical stature that, Malone, as obviously one of the best power forwards of all time, had the pick and roll going with Stockton.
Yeah, he had Stockton. That's it. Iverson didn't have a Stockton or a...
Hell no. Iverson didn't have anybody.
He had Dikembe.
Well, Sean, thank you very much for that.
Can anyone do a Dikembe impersonation?
Nope.
Not in my house. No.
There you go.
What's the first thing you think of with Dikembe Mutombo?
Cookie Monster.
No, finger wag.
Walking into the club asking
Me
the
too.
ladies.
Who wants to sex Mutombo?
Who wants to
I don't even
sex
know if it's
Mutombo?
true.
I thought the story, about that story? I thought LaShawn McCoy's story was the story.
I don't know that one.
I don't know.
Oh, you never heard the story? He was like, he was dating somebody, and he was like, the woman was like, I really appreciate this, but I really think that, my boyfriend's not going to like this, and I don't really think we should continue. And then he went to the club to see the girl, and the girl's boyfriend was Dikembe Mutombo.
Yes, now I do remember
who was
that.
also married.
Yes.
At the time, to somebody else.
Yeah, Shady probably shouldn't have told that story.
Shady's
Should
like
not.
5'11".
I know.
He was dating
Imagine
the same
that.
woman.
Yeah.
The same woman was dating Shady McCoy and Dikembe Mutombo. Variety is the spice of life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Mike, who's in Pittsburgh. Mike, what's up? Who's the greatest NBA player to never win a title?
Well, I first just wanted to say I'm real bummed to hear that they banned the Tush push, or it's looking that way, being an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
I do find that to be disheartening. It seems every time Philadelphia gets an edge, like Allen Iverson's crossover or the Tush push, they have to ban something to slow us down.
Yeah,
So,
preach,
One
Mike.
wild
Preach,
conspiracy against the city of Philadelphia. Sounds right.
Wait, I was saying, I watched the series with the Raptors and the Sixers back in the day. I know you said Allen Iverson, but the other guy involved in one of the best series I ever seen was Vince Carter. Vince Carter on the other side with the Raptors. I know he doesn't have the stats or the accomplishments, but being a young guy growing up in that time, Vince Carter was like a transcending talent. I mean, he was something nobody had seen before. The dunks. I mean, and that series, him and Iverson just going back and forth carrying their teams that really didn't have anything. Really just. To me, I know it's not great. It's not the answer. People are gonna be like, oh yeah, but to me, he was another Kobe, and you were saying like Elgin Baylor. He was somebody I feel like that was like a transcendent talent that took the game to another level.
No, Mike, I think a lot of people loved Vince Carter, still continue to, and that was a great series, a 7-game series. Thank you for the call. Yeah. Raptors versus your Philadelphia 76ers.
My all-time favorite player. I mean, hands down. And listen, I was torn during that series because I worshiped Vince Carter since he came into the NBA. And even at UNC, I loved him. He did have to go to graduation the day before that last Game 7. Remember that story?
Yep.
And we were like, oh, that's nice that he's graduating. But, dude, you got a game. Get your priorities straight.
He did get criticized for that. And then, obviously, eventually just really kind of blew his way out of Toronto. And people really kind of, like, forgave him for that. But normally we don't. We don't love it when guys are just...
Yeah, he pulled a James Harden.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, he was like not dunking on layup lines. Like he was doing a lot of weird stuff to get himself out of Toronto.
Quit.
Yeah.
Kind of like Juan Soto jogging out to right field all slowly because he's
not
all
talking
sad.
about that yet. Still may.
Happened?
PJ's in Atlanta. PJ, who is the greatest NBA player to never win a title?
Pearl agrees.
Chris Paul.
It's a good one.
12-time All-Star. I mean, defensive first team a billion times. Steals, assist leader, anniversary team 75th, Mr. Basketball, North Carolina. He's the best player not to win a title, period.
PJ, it's a great one. And, I mean, now the longevity, and you can see
and he's only 6 foot. Like, you give Iverson stuff. He's only 6 foot. It's not like he's 6'6" or nothing.
Yeah, and obviously, and Paul's a way better defender than Iverson was. So he might even have the leg up there.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I think he was 6 or 7-time defensive first team and, all NBA all over the place. I mean, yeah. So.
The thing about him, he had that one Phoenix when he was in Phoenix against Milwaukee. That was his chance. Did we all think that was happening?
Yep.
Weren't they up 2-0?
Yeah.
I remember just thinking, oh, my God, finally Chris Paul gets one, and it didn't happen.
Well, weirdly, Giannis was, like, hurt in that playoffs and then just, like, magically got better and also magically became this great free throw shooter, like, overnight.
Oh, my God, I remember that.
It was so weird. PJ,
feels
thank
like
you for
ancient
that.
history, but you're right. Giannis's free throws was such a big deal.
Well, it was the Bogusch's team, fans at Barclays Center counting down from 10 to try to get in Giannis's head, and it actually was working.
Well,
And,
he does take 20 seconds to shoot a free throw, but I digress.
Yeah, no, he does.
By the way, Chris Paul was no Allen Iverson. I do disagree with that.
But I think defensively, he was much better than Iverson.
He was definitely, but I think Iverson was a better player because Paul was never a dominant. He had stretches where he was a dominant offensive player.
Didn't nearly have the speed.
Yeah.
He didn't have.
Yeah. I just
Chris
think
Paul was a floor general, though. One of the best we've
two
ever
very
had.
different styles.
Yep.
But I mean, if you put an all-time player list, I'm putting Iverson ahead of Paul.
Wow, that's tough.
I don't
Paul
think
never won an
it's a
MVP.
big debate. Yeah.
I think that's a big debate.
I mean, find me a list where Paul's ahead of Iverson. I'd be surprised.
I think it's probably the MVP that breaks the tie. I would think. Let's go to JT, who's in Atlanta. The greatest player to never win a title is who?
Hey, real quick though, Perloff, don't worry about that ban. We need to go ahead and trademark a T-shirt right now that says "ban that." Like every time
Yes.
we score and just go ahead and just get it going because they're not going to stop us anyway. It's just hate, not hate, but that's okay. As far as I'm going to say the father of the finger roll, George Gervin, for me, is one of the greatest players to never win one, and honorary mention to Alex English.
Oh, the best.
Two great ones, definitely for Gervin. I'm just trying to look now. I mean, how many years in the ABA, right? 4 or 5 for Gervin for the NBA, for the merger.
Yeah, I mean, that was an era
game
where
logs here.
it used to be NBA. If you were a great scorer, you were not viewed as a great player.
Yeah.
Like everyone
champion,
could distinguish. Like that's why I think James Harden is overrated. Yeah, he could score 30 points a game, but he's a version of George Gervin and Alex English who couldn't win. By the way, I totally apologize. Chris Paul is higher than Allen Iverson on the ESPN list.
Thank you.
I can't believe this. What am I talking about here? It's Allen Iverson's AI. Chris Paul is good, but he's AI. Anyway, I digress. There was a point where these great scorers couldn't win titles. Dominique, you mentioned. Like I think like it used to be like, oh, those guys are great scorers, but they're not title-winning players. Now the line is blurred a little bit because SGA led the league in scoring, right?
Yes. I'm pretty sure he did.
Anthony Edwards hit more threes than anyone
but in terms
this
of points per game, I believe it was
probably Shai.
Yeah, now you can be the leading scorer, but it used to be that they were different. Like Kelly Tripucka could put up 30 points a game and not win a title. Adrian Daly, Mark Aguirre.
But you know what's funny, though? I do feel like, for some reason, the guys in the 80s playing in the West, for some reason, don't get any of the respect that these 90s guys that lost to Jordan did. Because Magic Johnson and the Lakers went to the finals almost every year.
Yeah. Oh, the West was terrible.
8 out of the 10 years. Well, these guys were getting blocked by Magic.
No, they were. All the good teams were in the East. The Lakers had there was like the AFC East with the Bills. It was a Magic carpet ride to the finals.
Well, the Lakers had some series where they struggled to win 6-7 games to get past these teams. So it wasn't like they were sweeping everybody. This was not a faux situation. Like those guys, for some reason, they don't. We're talking about Allen Iverson, who had one playoff run basically, and I love Allen Iverson. He's literally one of my favorite all-time players. But one memorable playoff run in a terrible Eastern Conference, and we put him up. Reggie Miller, one finals appearance. Like we push these guys up in the East.
I'll tell you why.
In the 80s, we kind of just throw them away.
You couldn't watch every game. I remember when I first went to go work at the NBA right out of college at NBA TV, and I had to take out tapes from the library to watch George Gervin highlights and some of his games because I wasn't getting that in upstate New York in the 90s and even in the 80s. You just weren't getting that kind of game. Yeah, the Lakers, because they were in the finals every year, you could see, but I wasn't getting San Antonio Spurs games on the East Coast.
Yeah, I don't remember there being consistently good teams. The Rockets snuck in a couple times, but it was like a sneak in. Like all the good teams were East, Milwaukee, Boston, Philly.
Dallas multiple times. I'm looking at through the series.
Yeah.
They played them to 6 or 7 games. San Antonio twice played them to 6 games
in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay,
they did have some runs where they won.
Mark Aguirre
beat everybody.
But those were not great teams. Those were not all-time teams.
You ever to wonder too if Bill Walton had stayed healthy in Portland before he got traded to the Boston Celtics. Anyway, we are a little late to the update. Great debate today. Greatest NBA player to never win a title. Bogusch, busy day.
So just to recap, on the final day of these owners' meetings in Minneapolis, we are expecting the NFL to approve the Packers proposal that bans the tush push. We are not expecting approval for the change to playoff seeding. And we are expecting approval of another extension for Roger Goodell, who has been the commissioner since 2006 and was already signed through 2027. And a reminder that he makes infinity $1 million every year to have this job.
Is there a point where he's so rich now that he could buy into a team in a significant way?
Probably.
If he wasn't commissioner?
I mean, football teams are crazy expensive now.
I know, but he's making $50 million a year.
A year, yeah.
So that's 10 years would be how much? I mean, basically, I think NFL teams are worth about $9 to $15 billion now.
No, I'm just saying, how much did Brady have to pay in for? Like,
Wait, for 5%?
Yeah,
Brady's
not getting a majority stake, but.
Well, the Niners just sold a chunk. I wonder how much that was.
Yeah,
I saw that it was. I really don't want to make it sound wrong, but I really thought I saw something that it was like the highest buy-in ever. It was like $8 billion, I think.
No, so they didn't pay $8 billion.
The
It was
valuation.
based on an $8.6 billion.
Gotcha.
That the Niners are worth $8.6 billion.
Gotcha. Okay, my bad. I read that wrong.
But still, I mean, it's the same idea. Like, that's what he's buying into. But if he's making $50 million a year, is that the highest annual average value in the league?
He's right up there
Is
with
he the highest
Brock
paid?
Purdy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and also he doesn't have a shelf life. Like he's going to go. But he's still going to retire, right?
He's getting another contract.
Through what year?
He already had one through 2027. So
I thought he announced his retirement. Am I imagining that?
You must be confusing him with Manfred.
No, Roger Goodell said, I'm done at I thought he said, I'm done at this specific year and I'm moving on. But
I don't think so.
Do you remember? I feel
Why
like I
would
heard
you
that
cut
from
off
you.
the cash flow? By the way, the guy still has to colonize the moon and put football there, so he's got work to do.
You're so right.
He has 2 years left on his deal, but Mike Florio says as of February of this year, don't expect Roger Goodell to retire anytime soon.
No, Manfred was the one who said, 4 years or
Manfred
something?
said that he's leaving for sure.
And we had Nance projecting to like his 50th Masters, which is like 8 years away.
Right. Okay. So when Goodell signed his last deal, spokesman Joe Lockhart declared this would be Goodell's final deal.
Nope.
And we started to talk about who would take over for him. There was even a bunch of articles who internally would take over. He was going to walk away.
I think that changed.
I think
you're right.
But why?
I don't know.
$50 million.
Good question.
$50 million.
No, I know why it changed from his. Like, again, he can never spend all this money. He's in his 60s. He's probably worth a
challenge accepted.
Try me.
Goodell? What is Goodell spending his money on?
Maybe a
white sneakers,
political campaign.
Yeah, there's never enough money for these people.
That's true, but he will die with 95% of that money in his bank account.
Not if he runs for governor of New York or something.
Like his dad?
Yep. I think his dad
Goodell?
was a senator. Back to you, Bogusch.
Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals in OKC was going well for the T-Wolves until it wasn't. Chris Finch's team, led by 4 at halftime, was still in front halfway through the third, only to lose by 26.
We didn't have a lot of patience in the second half, and then our rushed offense, didn't get a bunch of quality looks, and then it affected our defense.
The Thunder won that second half 70-40 to win the game 114-88. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring 20 of his 31 after halftime. Julius Randle had just 8 over the last 2 quarters. Anthony Edwards did not score in the fourth. Caitlin Clark, 27 points and 11 assists, but she and the Fever couldn't steal a win from the Dream last night. Atlanta lost a 9-point fourth quarter lead, but won the game 91-90 in Indy on a Ryan Howard free throw with 9 seconds left. The Carolina Panthers suffered their first home loss of these playoffs, 5-2. The Carolina Hurricanes lost to the Florida Panthers.
You're already giving the Panthers L's?
5-2. This
camp.
is hockey, and that was game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. 14 saves for Bryce Young. And this is about 17 too many.
1-0, swing and a high drive. I think we're going to make it 7. Doyle is back at the track, at the wall. He leaps, it's gone. And Kyle Schwarber homers into the hedges in dead center field. His 17th home run of the season.
I need a drink. Scott Fransky, Phil's Radio. Homer 17 for Schwarber, and another Phillies win, 7-4 in Colorado. That's 5 in a row. And since the Mets lost again at Fenway, the Phillies lead the NL East by a game and a half. Their magic number is like 3. Back to you guys.
What a turn. Baseball's fun, right, guys?
The only reason why Perloff is watching his own Philadelphia Phillies is because he is Kyle Schwarber in our home run derby.
Well, last year was disappointing because the Phillies were the best team all year long, and then you don't want to do that in baseball. I'm looking into the sports science of this. You got to peak. Can't peak in May.
This is not
That's
new.
why Juan Soto's got it everywhere where he wants him.
Oh, so the Mets have a chance, is what you're saying?
The Mets are doing it exactly right. I mean, remember the Mets destroyed us last year when it counted. So, yeah, I'm not going to get too hype here.
Okay, coming up, we do have to get to this Joe Burrow sound from yesterday. Joe Burrow at the podium had a lot of interesting things to say. And one, though, kind of felt like whining a little bit. And I don't think people believe Joe Burrow is much of a whiner. So we've got that for you and a lot more. Also, keep them coming. It's the great debate today. Greatest NBA player to never win a title. Who you got?
You're in a 5-minute break.
Amy Lawrence in her power, but wait, hold up, no seat in sight. Her chair is gone this quiet night. Odyssey's finest, infinity's pride. Now Amy's pacing, no place to slide. She scans the room, but it's just air. The burning question, who took my chair? Down in San Antonio, there's a man you should know. Kevin Lamelli puts on quite a show. 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups with your squats in a row. A workout machine, he's got that morning glow. Kevin Lamelli, breakfast king. That exact time, hear the sun sing. Sometimes it's oatmeal, he's keeping it clean. But every single morning, he's living the dream. Into Maggie Perloff on YouTube each day. Comments rolling in, got plenty to say. But there's one thing missing, it's becoming a trend. Where's Manny at? Didn't he just begin? Like his mentor Bellotti, he's ghosting the crew. Consistently MIA, what's a viewer to do? Kevin Lambo, breakfast king. That exact time, hear the sun sing. Sometimes it's oatmeal, he's keeping it clean. But every single morning he's living the dream. Tunes into Maggie and Perloff on YouTube each day. Comments rolling in, got plenty to say. But there's one thing missing, it's becoming a trend. Where's Manny at? Didn't he just begin? Like his mentor Bellotti, he's ghosting the crew. Consistently MIA, what's a viewer to do? Down in San Antonio, the tacos are divine. Kevin's chowing down, Wemby's right there in line. He says, Perloff, come join us, but we all know the score. Andrew hits on drives, he ain't leaving his door. San Antonio's hero, he's making life sweet. With Wemby on deck and a table of drinks. And Perloff, stay home, you'll never make the drive. But Kevin's out here living large and alive.
Down in Music City, there's a man named Jay. He's tuned in to Maggie and Perloff every single day. Life's been a battle, he's been losing for years, but now his motto's clear: no more losing tears. He's been down, he's been low, but now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got questions, can't let it slide. Who's running the YouTube on the Infinity side? Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight. But Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right.
"15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Great debate on Wednesday, the greatest NBA player to never win a title. Give us a call at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Pearl, it feels like this is really building up to be a really big season for the Cincinnati Bengals. And, I'm not saying that, we move on pretty fast in sports, but ever since that run to the Super Bowl, which was a surprise, things have just not gone the way we thought for Cincinnati. We thought they'd be a mainstay, and they did get back to the AFC Championship game after that. But, for Burrow's talent and for the team that's around him, I know the defense has struggled, but offensively, they are a wagon. So it feels like it's all these other things that have gotten in their way. Slow starts. Again, the defense not being very good, not making enough of an investment in the defense. But I was a little surprised that Joe Burrow had some specific gripes about what is going on with the Bengals. First, complaining yesterday, and Manny, I'll take cut 4, about this being the 4th season in a row where the Bengals have to play a night game in Baltimore.
Playing in Baltimore for the 4th straight primetime year isn't ideal. Maybe we could get one of those in Cincinnati next year, please.
I get
please.
it. I don't know if saying pretty please is going to convince the people, the schedule makers, but going to be honest, I don't think the Joe Burrow of 3 years ago is saying something like this. It seems a little complainy. It seems a little whiny. Here's the other thing. At the same time, when Joe Burrow is upset that he's not getting a home primetime game against the Baltimore Ravens, he's also upset that the Bengals haven't been picked to play an international game since he's been the quarterback.
Maybe an international game next year too. I think, part of the reason I wanted to do the quarterback show, I wanted to help grow the game internationally, and so to not have a stage like that is a little disappointing. Please.
What are you talking about, man? I love Joe Burrow. He's amazing. He might be the second best quarterback in the league. He will be an MVP at some point. But dude, are you serious? You're complaining you're not getting a home game against Baltimore, and literally in the same press conference, you also want to take your team thousands and thousands of miles because you want to grow the game internationally. Is that grow the game internationally, or do you want to grow your Joe Burrow brand internationally? And I've never thought this way about Burrow. I've never thought he's a me first guy or a my brand guy or anything like that until I listened to this press conference yesterday. I'm like, what is he talking about?
But wait, maybe it's like Minnesota, who has this brilliant little quirk where they have 2 road games in Europe, so they don't have to go to Cleveland, they don't have to go to Pittsburgh because they got to Europe. Maybe Burrow was looking at the Browns and saying, the Vikings, and saying that's an awesome thing. Maybe if they lost road games.
Who in the world, what player in the world wants to actually go play in Europe? It's so disruptive. The body clock, no one's figured it out yet. And to stay there for 2 weeks, I just feel like this is a weird turn here from Burrow to be complaining. First of all, you don't get a home game against Baltimore in primetime, but then also to complain that the league's not shipping you out to Germany.
I don't know. I feel like you're ripping him though.
I'm just surprised because I don't think that Burrow is a guy who's trying to prioritize his brand. But I can't think of another reason why you'd actually be begging for an international game. You cannot tell me that Joe Burrow really gives a crap about growing the game internationally. Why would he ever care about that?
I don't know.
He's getting paid as much as anybody in the league. He's taking a more percent of salary cap than any other quarterback in the NFL. It's Roger Goodell's, that's his job to grow the game internationally. It's not Joe Burrow's. What does he care?
I don't know. What do you care?
Well, this is one of the great quarterbacks in the league who's trying to win a title.
Yeah, but this has no impact on any of that. I feel like you're shredding Joe Burrow.
He deserves it in this case.
No, he doesn't deserve anything. These are just two offhanded comments about the special. This is why quarterbacks don't want to get up at the podium. You're tearing apart these minor little statements from him.
He brought it up. He's bringing this up.
Is it maybe a little whiny? I agree with that, but it's not a big deal. I mean, it makes it sound like you think this is going to be like, oh, maybe Joe Burrow plays a victim role too much and he's not going to win a Super Bowl. Like, do you think this has an impact?
Please. I just can't imagine ever wanting to get up there to say, we're intimidated by going to Baltimore to play night games. Like, what are you doing? You've been in the Super
ridiculous.
Bowl.
I saw Warren Sharp say they're the only team who's ever had to do this exact thing. Like, it's crazy how much they screw the Bengals with the schedule.
Kansas City comes to Buffalo in the regular season, it feels like all the time.
That's by formula, though. That has nothing to do with a choice.
Okay, but do they ever complain about it? I never hear Kansas City being like, man, we really don't want to go to Buffalo again. No, you play who's on your schedule. You're going to play the Ravens or in your division. I just can't imagine. It almost feels like you're trying to duck the smoke in a weird way. Like, you're the team who's been to the Super Bowl more recently than the Ravens have.
Well, I just think it's like, I don't see, that's not how I see Joe Burrow as a player at all. Like, there's no ducking smoke. There's no not team first. Like, that dude shows up even in a hard situation. Like, there's an obvious problem with the Bengals. Like, their team building is garbage.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. This is so, I felt like it was out of character. It was against type. And he's the one who's bringing it up. Like, the fact that they're not getting an international game, that's what you're worried about to grow the NFL?
He's sitting at a podium. He's not worried about it. I mean, do you think that he's not going to deliver? First of all, he is like the ultimate team guy. He really, like,
I know
everyone worships him. Like, he does everything right. This is not a blemish in any way to me.
I'm not saying it's a blemish, but it is whiny.
Sounds like you are saying that.
Well, I'm just surprised by it. I'm surprised by it that this is the focus, if it is the focus at all for a guy like him. Like, you should be thinking, I'm going to go into Baltimore and I'm going to kill them, right? It doesn't matter when, where. Give me them on a neutral field, on their home field. Like, where's the imposing your will, the one trying to be the intimidator? We don't care. When they made it to the Super Bowl, they were a wild card team that had to win all their road games. They're known as road warriors. They're the team that actually goes into Arrowhead and can win. Burrowhead, how far away are we from that? So it just is it's a weird turn for Burrow, and he's going to be on
this. It's not a turn. He's fine. He's going to be great. He's got to stay healthy. He's amazing. That guy will show up everywhere. And I mean, honestly, without him, this franchise is the Browns. I mean,
I'm not disagreeing about that, but I'm just saying, this is a team that we thought was really going to be a mainstay.
Yeah, until they let everybody go, and they basically. Yeah, I've seen Jesse Bates being awesome. I'm going to see Trey Hendrickson probably be awesome somewhere else. Like, they need a guy who's left on their defense.
They did exactly what Burrow asked them to this offseason. Sign Jamar Chase, re-sign T. Higgins.
They haven't done Hendrickson yet, though.
That was always felt like third on his list of priorities.
Well, he's saying it now. I mean, they have a real problem. Their defense stinks.
Coming up next at 888-710-4ISN if you want to weigh in. Coming up next, our pal Joe Vardon from The Athletic covers the NBA. He'll join us in studio. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Ding dong, the tush push is dead, we think, according to sources like Diana Orsini's sources. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We're getting some drips and drabs out of the owners' meetings. It looks like Perloff's beloved Philadelphia Eagles are going to have to do without the tush push forever.
If I told
Goodbye,
you,
good riddance.
If I told you 5 years ago you were going to utter the sentence "Ding dong, the tush push is dead," what would you have thought I was talking about?
I don't know. Some kind of scandal involving Belichick. I have no idea. Anyway, looks like Philadelphia Eagles' secret weapon is going to be going the way of the dodo bird. At least that's what the sources say. We'll get more into that in a moment. Meanwhile, that's live footage of all of us celebrating. The OKC Thunder take a 1-game lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's the latest. Tonight, we get the Pacers and the Knicks, game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Joe Vardon covers the NBA for The Athletic. He's been a friend of the show and in New York to cover this series, so came in studio to see us. Joe, thank you for coming on in. You made the walk over here. Now, I got to be honest, with some of the footage we're seeing and how crazy some of the Knicks fans have been, you got to watch your back when you're leaving the Garden. Try, to keep your head on a swivel because we saw Brian Windhorst get hit with a can the other day just trying to walk to his hotel.
Brian is a dear friend. We're both from Akron, Ohio, and started together. He was sort of he was working the desk at the Akron Beacon Journal, and I was doing freelance for the Akron Beacon Journal 20-something years ago. And we've been all over the world together, because we both cover Team USA.
Yeah.
And I have seen him we've been in Manila, and people keep coming up to him like he's a player. I've been with him in the Middle East. I've been with him in Paris. So everybody else, the attention is all over the world. This is the first time I can remember anybody throwing anything at him.
I mean, a little over the top, Knicks fans. Let's dial it back.
Hold on. Wendy's a celebrity in Paris and all over the...
Oh, especially
more so than everyone else in the media, or
certainly more so than the media. But in Manila for the 23 World Cup, if you guys remember, that team was sort of the up and coming guys. Like Brunson was on it, and Hart was on it, Bridges was on it, and so you didn't have the A-listers, and so there is a massive mall next to the arena in Manila, and we would always go over there to get a pregame meal, and then we would walk back over for the game, and he would probably get stopped 10 to 15 times a trip.
Wow.
From people who either listened to that podcast or I guess maybe had seen him on TV just wanting pictures with Brian Windhorst.
Joe, let me ask you a question. On Pat McAfee show, LeBron kind of threw Wendy under the bus and said, I thought that they had a long relationship going, as you said, back to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. What was that all about? Yeah, because everyone knows that Wendy's been covering him his whole career. Why do you think LeBron took a shot, kind of called him a weirdo?
I mean, I think that
could have been you too, by the way.
The gist of what was said there is just that there is this assumption that there is a personal relationship between those two, and what Brian would say is that there isn't. That it is strictly professional, and Brian would say that. So my initial read on some of that stuff was that LeBron was basically saying the same thing. I think that Brian's mom taught LeBron.
Yeah.
I believe that is true.
St. Vincent St. Mary High School. Yeah.
And that's where he went to school as well. So, I mean, Brian's written a few books, and I don't know if LeBron is one of those types that gets, that doesn't love it when people make money off of them that way. I don't know if that was the comment, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, it's just, I guess, just kind of like staking out what Brian has said too, which is just that there's, they've just worked together.
Yeah, it's funny because and Windhorst said, I don't ever want to people think that I'm like riding his coattail, right? And to be fair. But everyone who started kind of with LeBron when he was young, even, you were there too, but no one accuses you of like riding LeBron's coattails. You're also just there at the beginning, which is generally something that you value, right?
Well, also too, I do think through the years, a lot of media members do become friends with the athletes they cover through the years. I mean, that's not unusual either. Like they could, I kind of actually thought they were friends. So maybe like friendly at least.
Yeah. How do you feel about, becoming friends with the guys you cover?
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe it's semantics, but when you spend this much time with these guys, especially, I will say, just speaking about the USA stuff, when you're in a situation where you're only one of a couple people around that team, and you're with them every day, and especially if travel is involved, you just get to know them. And that, to be, get honest and personal about it, like that can be probably the toughest part of this job is you are around these people every day. And generally speaking, you're nice to each other. And you might even get to know them and like them. And then it is your job when they stink to tell them that they stink. And then you have to go back to the relationship you had the day before you told them that they stink. So that's where it gets awkward and difficult sometimes.
Yeah. Do you want to reveal any time where you ever really had a personal, like, oh gosh, I've got to air this person out because I got to do my job, but I know it's going to cost me in real life, like potentially a personal relationship?
Well, going back to LeBron, I always appreciated him that he appreciated, at least in those days, those hard questions.
Sure.
There was one time where he was just being petty with the Cavs, and he unfollowed them on social media.
Oh, we remember Fit In, Fit Out. Is that this era?
It was all in that era. Okay. And at one time, it was after a game when he pulled this, and he had, I think the Cavs had considered fining him. It was around the time that he was laughing with Dwayne while the Heat were beating the Cavs by 25 at half. There was all kinds of nutso stuff going on. And so he unfollows the Cavs. People figure it out. And so post-game, I had to ask him about it. And he may have rolled his eyes at the time or whatever, but I always appreciated him that he was good with being checked, so long as he thought that it was fair.
Right.
So that's something I always appreciated.
Passive-aggressive LeBron James is it's something that maybe kind of feels like it has gone by the wayside. Joe Vardon is here with us in studio, covers the NBA for The Athletic. He's in town covering Knicks Pacers, which we'll get to. But because you're from Akron and you've had this relationship with LeBron for such a long time, and Bronny and the whole family, this is something I think that Perloff and I have disagreed on. Did LeBron know the Luka trade was coming? I don't think there's any way in where that he did not have a heads up, considering his agent, Chris Paul, and kind of bankrolling this agency. Rich Paul. Paul. Rich Paul is also Anthony Davis's agent.
I spoke. I could talk about this now. So that trade went down in the middle of the night between a Saturday night and a Sunday morning. I was on the phone with Rich by about 7:45 Akron time, Cleveland time. And the Mavericks, by the way, were actually in Cleveland when that happened, which was helpful to me as far as coverage goes. But so at 7:45 in the morning, Rich was insistent that LeBron did not know about this ahead of time, and he was explaining how he broke the news to LeBron, what was going on, what they were doing. The family was at dinner here in New York, actually. So I don't necessarily I still think that is probably true, that LeBron didn't quite know, just because I just think it really would have been too messy. I don't think Davis would have wanted to be traded there. I thought maybe it might have been a good thing for Anthony, as he could maybe get away from LeBron as LeBron goes towards retirement, but it's such a good trade for the Lakers, but at the same time, it would be so personal with the relationships there, and even involving Rich. So I think it was probably better this way.
Did LeBron like the trade?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if he would have signed off, but he was worried about Davis's feelings.
Yeah, I don't know how LeBron can be shrewd like that. There was one time Dwayne Wade was on the Cavs, and they traded him at the deadline. So even if you're allegedly as close to LeBron as Dwayne was, if he thinks it's better off for his team that you're not on it, he's okay with that. I just don't know what I honestly I can't talk about it because I don't know is the personal relationship between LeBron and AD, if that would have, how much that would have weighed on LeBron here.
Right.
Because they were close.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. He wanted AD to leave the Pelicans. They set this up, 2 years before AD hit free agency. It was a big deal. Joe Vardon is here with us in studio from The Athletic. Can Luka and LeBron win a title together?
Oh, time's getting short. I am fascinated to see if being paired with Luka extends LeBron's career. I didn't think that this past season, the 24-25 campaign, would be his last, but I'm wondering if this next one would have been, and maybe it still will be. But playing alongside a guy like Luka, I think will reinvigorate him maybe one more time. And I also would just say, if you think back to the last mega partnership that Luka had with Kyrie in Dallas, when they were put together around the same time, it was about that trade deadline of 23, they weren't any good. Luka was really shy and really kind of didn't know how to play with Kyrie, and they didn't make the playoffs. And so then, they have a summer together. They come back, obviously go all the way to the finals. And I do wonder about that with Luka and the Lakers. There was just a feeling out process, and also he was shell-shocked by the trade. He's shy by nature. But I think coming into this year, he will have a better understanding of what LeBron wants from him and how he can play to the best of his capability, the Luka level, alongside like other pretty big name players. So I do expect them to be pretty good.
But you look at this offseason, obviously they expect a gigantic jump from Bronny next year to fill in the hole. But no, can they make a big move? I feel like their roster is just a little bit short, especially in the West now. Is there another star possibly coming to LA?
Well, I mean, you always consider the Lakers a possible destination. This is going to be a somewhat boring free agency, but it could be a mega summer for stars getting traded. And the Lakers, of course, are always going to be star hungry. What they're learning though, which what you see throughout the rest of the league with the punitive nature of the salary cap. If you front load your roster with these stars, then the back end can be really rough.
Right.
And so, they obviously need a big man. The primary reason probably why they lost in the first round was they didn't have the size to match up with Julius and Rudy, and it cost them. So they need to do that. I really like Austin Reeves. I like some of the pieces they put together. I had them going further than they went this year, but they need to get a little bigger.
Joe Vardon is here with us in studio. We're talking some NBA. He's in town to cover the Knicks and the Pacers. You mentioned could be a huge offseason for NBA trades.
Yeah.
So obviously Giannis, who is meeting with the Bucks today.
As far as I know, yeah.
As far as we know, this is the big meeting. The meeting before the meeting, and then Kevin Durant's the other one. But for Giannis, if you're kind of reading tea leaves, does this happen again to the Lakers that he falls out of the sky? I don't even know how that would happen, but where do you think makes sense for Giannis?
I mean, you think about places like San Antonio, and you think about Houston. I keep throwing Oklahoma City out there. They are as close to the vest as any team in the NBA. I'm just saying, they're riding high right now, and they also just have this outrageous treasure trove of draft capital. They have some young players they could throw in there as well. So you could have a Warriors situation where, the Thunder either win or get to the finals and then lose and then upgrade to a Giannis. Like that could happen.
Like when Kevin Durant joined the Warriors.
That's exactly right. Brooklyn is a name that you hear. They definitely want to get back into the star market. I think if depending on how this meeting goes today, does Giannis want this? If the answer is yes, then I think 29 other teams have to make that call.
Yeah.
Can I be honest about one thing, though? Because I'm a Sixers fan, so I've been looking at these Giannis packages. Oklahoma City has a treasure trove of draft picks. A lot of them are top 5 or top 10 protected. Why do you want Oklahoma City's draft picks? I feel like if I'm the Bucks, I want to get into this year's draft, which is really strong. Mm-hmm. And so I would go
this year,
for
the Cooper
I would go
draft.
for I feel like San Antonio is in the driver's seat if they want to get, although they reportedly don't want to give it to. Why would you want these future picks for a team that's obviously going to be elite forever?
Yeah, I think it just depends on what your strategy is for a rebuild. Are you deciding that you're getting away from a franchise, like a face of the franchise type player, and it might take 5 years? Then you get as much draft capital as you can because it gives you the most flexibility. You're not, I also like.
But can Milwaukee do that? Just trade for a bunch of future first-round picks and not get a player back to fill that void on that team?
Oh no! I mean, you would get. I mean, I think you would get within reason whoever you wanted. Would it be Jalen Williams plus these? I mean, the Thunder are trying to win a title right now, so let's not put him on the trade block. For Giannis, but just when you start thinking about the machinations of how this works. They are going to get, if Giannis is available, they will get the exact mix that they're looking for of capital and young player or players.
Joe Vardon's here with us in studio from The Athletic. Do you think we're going to hear from the Golden State Warriors this offseason? They made the Jimmy Butler trade. Obviously, Steph gets hurt in the playoffs, but they're trying to maximize the end of Steph's career. That's obvious. Are they a major player this offseason?
I think they want to be. I think they're really excited about the Steph and Jimmy pairing. You know, they value Draymond for just what he means to them spiritually, but he's also he's getting up there in age, and you know there comes a point where as production starts to diminish, can he keep it together emotionally?
The answer is no. We all know that. 13 years of evidence of that. No dice.
But they know they know they're nearing the end. How much longer will Steve coach there? I think that's a question as well. I think that's something for the Lakers and for Mike Dunleavy to just decide is it worth getting rid of their future assets to make one more run?
All right, last one for me, Joe. You are NBA commissioner. You're taking over for Adam Silver this offseason. 7 champions in 7 years.
Yeah.
We have real parity. Is this a good thing, or are we sitting in a boardroom saying, hey, we might need to relax on the salary cap, the punitive salary cap you described earlier, and get a dynasty? Are they excited about this, or is it something to fix?
You caught me with, are they excited about this? With LeBron and Steph, LeBron's over 40 years old. Steph at least isn't that old yet. But these guys are leaving. They're timing out. And so the NBA needs to cast as wide of a net as it can and needs to introduce the average sports fan to its new stars in a way that maybe the dynasties do not allow. So I think for the league, it's a good thing that Shai is where he is against Anthony Edwards. That's really good, and it's probably good for the league that the Knicks are in the conference finals this year. So I am on the side of parity is a good thing. It's reintroducing fans to the league at large instead of getting away on a couple players. To me, the salary cap thing is a little bit too. It's just a little too confusing. Like, I feel like there's a way that we could, whether it's just institute more of a hard cap and just, the rules are kind of just easier to follow. But parity generally, I think, is okay.
Yeah, you got to be Einstein to figure out that second apron. It's ridiculous.
Totally.
Okay, going to do something real quick with you. Joe Vardon here with us in studio. Play a little music, and this is going to be 5 yes or no questions about LeBron James. Okay, Joe from Akron, been covering LeBron his entire career. 5 yes or no questions about LeBron James with Joe Vardon. Here we go. Number 1, will LeBron own a team one day?
Yes.
Any idea what city he may favor? Would he get involved Seattle? Would he get involved Vegas, some of the expansion cities?
It's not going to be just him. It's going he doesn't have the money for that.
Okay.
So it will be him plus the advisors and investors that he's already paired with who are located in Boston. So that doesn't mean the Celtics, but this will be part of his portfolios. He will own it.
Okay. And do you think he's going to try to run the team too?
I don't think that he will. I think that he probably would try to do that. I think he will find it to be less fulfilling than he imagines.
Yeah, when you're getting into the HR videos, you got to watch on, how to avoid phishing scams. It's not as fun. Okay, Joe Vardon, 5 questions about LeBron James. Does he really spend $1 million a year on his body? Is that a real number?
I think so, just because of the equipment and probably figuring in some salary considerations as far as who is helping him.
Okay. Do you think he will play with Bryce James, his younger son, who's going to be playing at Arizona this year?
I would have said no, and I still tend to think that he will be out of the league before Bryce does that. The Bronny stuff, to me, turned out better than I thought. I think I was even
when
in
he
here.
was fighting with Stephen A. Smith on the at the court side.
No, but I just mean I didn't think that Bronny. It had been years since Bronny was even the best player on his team, and I just questioned his readiness for the NBA, and he got better.
Wow.
He had a good year in the G League after a while. It really started to score the ball, and then you could see it when he came back and played some games with the Lakers. Like, they had to play him in crunch time a little bit, and he held his own. Like, I don't think he's ready to be an impact player in the league, but it's gone better than I thought. For whatever Bronny was able to accomplish as a teenager, Bryce is behind that. So the only thing he has really going for him over his brother is he's taller.
Right.
But so I just, in my limited, scouting abilities, like, I would say Bryce isn't ready for this, but who knows?
2 more quick yes/no questions with Joe Vardon, who's been covering LeBron James since he was in high school. Will LeBron play for another team besides the Lakers?
No.
No, this is it.
I have decided years ago that this is the hill I'm dying on.
Okay.
He's not going anywhere. Too happy living there. Savannah loves it there. They have a daughter who's going to school there. His son plays for the Lakers. Like, it's just.
Sorry, Joe, to interrupt. He just got traded to the Cavs.
Back in your hometown.
Yeah, that one didn't work out for you.
Gotta go.
Just kidding.
Okay, so that's a yes, and lifestyle is, you think, the number one reason?
Number one.
Okay. And last one for you is not a yes/no, but it's a question for you about LeBron James's career with Joe Vardon. What's the biggest what-if of LeBron's 20-plus years in the NBA? Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. Is it, I'm sorry to mention this for my friend, Kyle Korver, but if Kyle makes the shot in the corner in game Game 4 of the 17 finals, if that shot goes down and they even the series at 2-2, do they have a chance? That was the best Warriors team probably ever, and it was probably the best Cavs team too. So that's what I'll go with.
Biggest what if, a Kyle Korver 3. I didn't think he'd be making an appearance on this show today, but that's the beauty of this show.
What if Draymond hadn't got kicked out before? You can what if both ways.
Yeah. If Draymond never kicks LeBron to the junk and gets suspended.
That's right.
Does LeBron
that series
ever get the redemption in Cleveland? The full redemption?
Well, I mean, maybe just because then, does Durant join the Warriors at that point?
Yeah.
Maybe not. So maybe they get it the next year. We haven't had a repeater since the Warriors of 17-18.
Yep.
Right.
So would they have won every year after a second one? Who knows?
Joe, thank you for doing this. Have fun covering Knicks Pacers. Again, head on a swivel.
No, we have. I think we have a Yankees helmet. If you want to wear a batter's helmet to walk out of the thing for flying garbage and stuff.
Absolutely.
Joe Vardon, you can read him and The Athletic covering Knicks Pacers and obviously all the offseason, which is going to be really fun in the NBA. Thank you. Okay, coming up, lots more to do, including we check in with who else? LeBron James's favorite NFL team, the Dallas Cowboys. Next.
Mm-hmm. You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff. It is a day of mourning around here for the greatest play in NFL history. The Tush push is going away reportedly later today.
Womp womp. Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you, Tush push.
Amen.
Honestly, did you really care about the Tush push one way or the other?
Kinda. Because
did it drive people crazy?
Yeah.
I can't tell because I'm totally too inside as an Eagles fan.
Yeah, you're too biased. You're too close to the project. Here's what I don't like about how this went down. I don't like it. Was clearly Commissioner Goodell doesn't like this play. The fact that they try to blame it first on health and safety, and that was obvious BS because they have no data to back it up, I thought was just really shady by the league. Shocker that the NFL is doing something shady. But this was like it was a weird cover up to no crime. Like health and safety is way too important for them to just be throwing this stuff around. So I thought that was just stupid. They don't like the play. So Goodell threw around his weight.
It's ugly.
And they got it. Sources are saying now it's going to get banned.
I think a lot of teams didn't like it too.
Yeah, because they couldn't stop it. Like there's not much more there, right?
Yeah, but it's just interesting. I'm curious when the rule gets written, and maybe Bogusch, you have something on this. Are they going to say you can't push running backs? You can't push other players? Because I know your team.
Yep.
There are a bunch of plays where James Cook's got pushed in by linemen. That's really become a big thing in the NFL. And I always wonder, like, why are they blowing the whistle? The guy's being carried about 10 yards downfield. So we'll be curious. The NFL is the king of unintended consequences. Every rule change has about 4 different things they didn't see coming. So this one could be a big one because it might not just be about the tush push. We'll see how they try to word that. I love when the NFL gets something wrong. It's the best. Like they're like, we're going to...
A lot of experience with that.
After the Saints-Rams travesty in the playoffs, they said, we're going to review pass interference the next year. And then I realized, well, pretty much pass interference on every play. I don't know what to do here.
It was a debacle. We'll see. I think a lot of things are going to get blamed on this, like if Philadelphia has a slow start or if, they don't win the Super Bowl or they don't make it back to the Super Bowl. People are going to say, well, their secret sauce was missing. They didn't have the tush.
How did they win the Super Bowl? They just, buried Patrick Mahomes behind this awesome defense, half of which left in free agency. So not half, but a lot of key players.
NFC Championship game, though, the tush push was run so many times with Frankie Louvu jumping over the line of scrimmage, and he almost got kicked out of the game.
The Eagles would have happily ran it once. It was the Commanders who wanted to run it a bunch of times.
Goodbye, tush push. Good riddance. Bogusch
what a disgrace.
Is here with the latest. What's up?
It's worth pointing out that the Eagles did a lot of politicking to get votes to save the tush push. But both were told the league's competition committee and the players' health and safety committee have suggested banning the tush push, which is apparently fueling this decision today among owners. And the Packers' proposal does ban you doing anything to help the runner except blocking for him. You can't push, you can't pull.
Okay, so and when they pass it, that has to have that. They can't say, well, we're going to pass part of this law.
No. They're passing a piece of paper that has they're accepting word for word what was given.
Oh, that's going to be tricky. What's a push, what's a pull? There are going to be some controversial calls.
Well, obviously, you know how this sets up like a movie, right? This would be the Green Bay Packers playing the Eagles in some kind of big playoff game. And somebody from the Packers gets pushed into the end zone and they flag it.
Divisional game in the snow.
And they lose, and Packers lose, despite them being the ones who introduced this change to begin with. That's how this thing gets poetic justice for the Eagles.
I remember months ago I said that like the Eagles fans will remember the Packers were doing this, and Pearl said no way. I still think that when the Eagles play the Packers this year, Eagles fans will definitely have signs. They will definitely remind the Packers that this happened.
That's at the link this year?
I think it is. I think I looked it up.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly why I said no way, but the Eagles fans hate everybody, so they're going to hate the Packers equally. But yes, did the Lions come in and say we like this banning the tush push too?
Sean McDermott.
Was it
from the Bills?
Sean McDermott. I know Sean McVay was a big part of this too.
No, the Lions wanted the playoff seeding.
Okay, right. But and I know Sean McVay is big on the competition committee. And I think the Eagles and the Rams could easily play in the NFC title game. I think the Packers have bigger problems, to be totally honest with you. You got to protect Jordan Love. Anyway, that's Eagles trash talk right there.
We are expecting a no from owners today for changing how playoff teams are seeded, but a yes for another extension for Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Go Birds.
Outside these meetings, Dak Prescott's participating in Cowboy OTAs right now, 6 months after his hamstring tore off the bone. Dak, though, is not cleared yet for contact. It's a relatively new term for me, but it's been thrown at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for a while now. He's apparently being called by the kids a free throw merchant, seeking contact instead of trying to score. In Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals last night, SGA drew 13 fouls, although one of them was challenged and overturned. Here's T-Wolves head coach Chris Finch.
There was a lot of frustration out there, but we talked about that before the series started, and we have to be able to kind of put that aside and get on with the next play mentality.
SGA hit 11 of 14 free throws, hit 10 shots from the field, 31 points in the Thunder's 114-88 runaway. OKC outscoring Minnesota by 30 in the second half last night.
Can you imagine if it's a Knicks Thunder finals, how much merchanting is going to go on? It's going to be like the Merchant of Venice. Is it the foul merchant Brunson versus the foul merchant Gilgeous-Alexander?
Are you still talking over there from Cancun, brother?
There's a tariff joke that I'm just not smart enough to make there about merchants, but something.
It's going to be boring.
He is Canadian.
That's true.
So Shai gets 1.5 free throws for every 2 that Brunson gets.
I mean,
there's a cap on how many.
The style of play was a
conversion rate too.
It's a little choppy. He gets you on his back, and the thing about him is he's He's so good. He draws a foul and then he can hit the shot. The guy's balance is incredible.
I just watched a 6-minute cut up of all 13 fouls.
So did I.
I don't know that many of them were wrong.
Thank you.
Like the one that
was bad.
The one that gets overturned because he just fell, and then there's one where he leans into Mike Conley at the left elbow and falls away. That's not a foul.
How about when
otherwise those are all fouls?
What about when Caruso flopped on that charge on Randall? That was a
bad
big
call.
play.
Yeah, I didn't like that call either.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agreed. I watched the compilation. And I was like, maybe on the Edwards shot, the first one, we said, okay, maybe he did kind of create that contract. But every other one, I think he's getting fouled.
That's not what merchanting is, though. That's not saying the calls are bad. He's putting himself in a position intentionally to get fouled.
Yeah, that's a good play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's smart basketball.
Yeah, it's smart basketball. It's completely an unappealing product. I mean, if that's foul merchanting, it doesn't mean it's bad calls. It just means you're putting yourself in positions you want to get fouled.
Yeah, but there's
it's not easy to do. You have to be a great player,
right? And I don't think it's a negative, and I don't think he's getting a beneficial whistle. At least last night.
No, but that's my point. It's not about a beneficial. Well, yeah, they're fouling him, but he's playing an intentionally game to get into the paint and draw them.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought process. 'Cause I feel like there are a lot of people who feel like he's not getting fouled. Like these are touch fouls. I saw Bill Simmons tweeted like these touch fouls got to stop, and I'm like, I think these are fouls. Like,
well, I bet you.
I think but there's a juxtaposition because the Thunder defenders play so physical.
Yeah.
That it's like, well, how are they getting away with this? And then you touch him, there's a foul. I think the problem is they're playing.
But it's been pretty even.
Yeah, and they're also playing against players like Anthony Edwards does not do that. Like
the first half was not even, by the way. It started out like 14-1 or something.
Shai's all of his points were essentially at the free throw line.
That's fine, but I guess you're gonna like kill a guy for taking advantage of a skill set that he has.
Yes,
it's not nearly as bad as what Harden did. It didn't feel like
it's absolutely as bad as he's exactly like Harden, and he's exactly like Luka too. The three of them. I'm going to kill him in the sense that, yes, it's unentertaining basketball.
I don't know. I didn't feel like this game had no flow.
Oh, I thought this game was...
first half was rough.
I mean, first of all, where did that Isaiah Hartenstein teardrop come from? He was carrying the team for half the game.
So the other part, too, is, Anthony Edwards getting his fourth foul pretty early, and I thought that I thought Chris Finch kept him on the bench a little too long. I mean, it was a close game, still with 7 minutes. It was a winnable game. It was still a game it was in the balance with 7.5 minutes left to go. I think that's when he came back in the fourth quarter. I mean, I know he's got 4 fouls, but
he also pulled him a little quick too. I know it's game 1, but I was surprised when he called off the dogs.
How are you going to win when you're DiVincenzo and all the bench guys are 1 for 50 from 3? Like they couldn't hit a shot.
Yeah, that's what you
have to hope changes, right? That they hit their threes.
I agree because I think
they were getting looks though. They were just not going down.
Yeah, I don't think that OKC. Like I know Shai said they're going to make adjustments. I don't think they're making any adjustments defensively. I think they're going to keep saying, yeah, we're going to close off the paint and make these other guys make threes. Usually they're a little better than last night. I don't know if they'll get better, but they're definitely going to dare Nas Reed and DiVincenzo to beat them from outside.
Randall hit some shots, his confidence,
but those other guys can't shoot right now.
Bogusch, what else?
SGA, by the way, however he got there, is likely to be the MVP this season. That announcement finally comes tonight ahead of Knicks-Pacers Game 1. Caitlin Clark, the Fever, erased a late 89-80 hole, but still lost at home to Atlanta last night, 91-90. Clark, 27 points and 11 assists. Asia Wilson scored 22. Jewel Lloyd had 20 as the Aces rolled through Connecticut for their first win of the season, 87-62. To baseball, the Cardinals trying to say,
"Get the out of here, Detroit!"
But Riley Green had other ideas.
The pitch is swinging line drive, base hit into right center field. This one's heading up the gap all the way to the wall. McKinstry around second, heading to third. Joey Cora waving that arm. McKinstry's helmet flies off. He will score standing up. Have a night, Riley Green. RBI double to the gap in right center. The Tigers take a 5-4 lead in the ninth.
That's Dan Dickerson on Tigers Radio. Detroit winning 5-4, courtesy of that Green RBI double top 9. It's their majors leading 32nd victory. And I believe everyone remembers the dude who fell over the right field fence and onto the field in Pittsburgh. He's only 20 years old, so a friend is now facing 2 third-degree misdemeanors for allegedly providing the beers that fueled that accident. I think his first name is pronounced Kavin Markwood. He's recovering well now from skull, rib, and lung injuries.
So he's going to survive. I actually didn't know that.
He's going to survive. It sounds like it's not going to be an easy recovery, but he's up and moving again and everything like that now. And his buddy is in some trouble here for buying him beers.
That was just a terrible story all the way around. Could have been obviously much worse if he was not going to pull through, but very, very glad that he's going to be okay. I got something for you guys. Thank you, Bogusch. Coming up next, a story that goes beyond sports, but one that I guarantee you are going to have a strong opinion about. 7P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Covered a lot of ground today. The Tush push looks like it's going away permanently, according to sources at the owners' meetings. Tush push is not being, it's going to be outlawed. Competition Committee, Health and Safety Committee, both saying goodbye Tush push, and we are here for it, mostly because it helps Perloff's team. I do want to get to another story, though. It has nothing to do with sports, but I think something that you'll have very strong opinions about. Okay, Manny. Obviously, we were saddened to hear the news that George Wendt had passed away. Norm from Cheers, the Superfans, which we just played a clip from the Superfans recently when the new Pope was elected. Elected? Yeah. And he's obviously from Chicago. So we played the Superfans, and George Wendt was incredible on Cheers. What an amazing sitcom. And I actually got this question from Chris Thomas, who I was on with last night from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. The greatest sitcom sidekick of all time.
Hey, Norm! Hey, beer with you. How's life treating you, Norm? I just ran over its dog.
Who is the greatest sitcom sidekick of all time? Because I've got mine, and I have a very strong opinion about this.
All right, get us started.
It's Costanza. It's got to be George Costanza. And I think a little bit like Norm, George Wendt, the actor, really didn't have another notable role. He had the Superfans, which was a SNL sketch, but he was so known for being Norm, it almost muddied the water for him to just be a regular actor. That didn't happen to Woody Harrelson. It didn't happen to Rhea Perlman. It didn't happen to a lot. Frasier. Well, Frasier ended up having a spinoff, but whatever. Same with Costanza. He couldn't get another big role because people saw him and couldn't see anything else but George.
Yeah, I just actually rewatched Shallow Hal, Don't Ask Why, and Costanza had an amazing role in that. Remember he had a tail at the end of the movie? Anyway, but let me ask you a question. Are you sure he's a sidekick? Because I felt like there were 4 primary players in Seinfeld that were close to equal.
No. I mean, it's Jerry. It's called Seinfeld. It was Jerry was the main character.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard them talk about it. They viewed it as like a 4-person show. Is Elaine a sidekick?
Like an ensemble cast, basically.
Yeah, I think that's an ensemble. See, Norm was a sidekick. That would be
Ted Danson?
That would be my counter.
I think I agree with Perloff because my first thought was Carlton, but I don't know if I'd call him a sidekick.
Ooh, yeah, as the show went on, I don't know if he was a sidekick anymore.
Because a real sidekick to me is like Jazz from The Fresh Prince. He's a sidekick. He's someone who's not in every episode, but he's only there with Will.
Right.
Like it'd almost be someone who's like either like like the guy from Cheers or someone who's like not necessarily the main part of the show.
Yeah, but you can't be Jazz from Fresh Prince because he's not even in the opening credits. It's got to be someone who, and I think it's the opposite. It has to be someone who's a regular on the show.
Jazz was awesome in The Fresh Prince. Let's just
exactly.
He always delivered. Like
Carlton's a great
driest sense of humor of any DJ in the history of the world. But anyway.
What the hell you doing?
So Charlie from It's Always Sunny is out? Because that was my first
That was my first choice, but then again, he's definitely a primary.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
like,
all
and he's the
together.
same as Costanza.
And there's no way to separate the Friends cast. They're all equal.
Okay, well, maybe some of your favorite shows this doesn't apply, but I would say Dwight Schrute would be another one.
That's
an ensemble cast. Also,
I would go sidekick with him for sure.
But Steve Carell was the lead, and then Dwight Schrute felt like his sidekick.
Yeah. Well, also too, like Seinfeld was the lead, and he was the straight man. Like it wasn't really about Jerry. It was really 4 plots. Interesting. What are some other strong names? Dwight Schrute's a good one. I immediately went. Sonny is my favorite all-time. Favorite all-time sitcom, but they don't really have sidekicks.
Barney Fife, if you want to go back.
Yes,
was definitely a big one with the Andy Griffith Show.
That would have been Bellatti's suggestion if he was
definitely. Bellotti, it's like there's no way he watched that first run, but he loves it.
Ted Knight and Mary Tyler Moore.
Ted Knight would be a great one.
Dan Patrick, a huge Ted Knight fan.
And I'm surprised EJ didn't bring up like Robin on the Batman TV show.
I think you're an idiot.
Oh, I don't know if I call that sitcom though. I guess it kind of was.
Felt like more of a kid show.
The Adam West, like Pow.
Yeah, I feel like
Blam.
That was not a situational comedy.
I don't think that's some elements. That's a great question. That should be a poll question.
Ethel Mertz.
Yeah, I thought about
from
Ethel.
I Love Lucy.
I
thought about Wheezy.
Wheezy also.
But then I would get into the thing of our wives sidekicks.
Was Wheezy
back
that
in
great?
that day they were.
Why Wheezy?
Hopefully we've come a little bit further, but back then they were.
What did Wheezy do though?
Ethel do? Was it like Ethel
I know
kind of
three other characters ahead of Wheezy.
Wait, no, but Ethel is like the black version of Wheezy. Or no, vice versa. Wheezy's the black version of Ethel. Like they literally came from that show.
There were funnier characters on that show though.
I agree with that. I can't remember the maid's name, but she was
she was the norm of the show.
Yeah.
She had all the punchlines.
I'm a big fan of Jacob Hill in Abbott Elementary, the only white guy on that show. I think he's very funny.
That guy is funny.
I'm seeing here Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, elite.
I got you Kimmy Gibbler from Full House. That's a good one.
That's a good
the
one,
neighbor.
too. Is that a sitcom or a kid
Full
show?
House?
Or a kid show?
No, Full House is a sitcom.
Oh, we're doing this again. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was going to say Sean from Boy Meets World is a sitcom.
Yeah, he's on this list too.
Yeah, definitely.
The neighbor from Doogie Howser. Can I say his name?
I don't know what his name is. So I don't
Why
know.
is his name like foreboding?
Is Doogie Howser a sitcom?
Yes.
No,
they might not have had a laugh track.
No, they weren't filmed in
Oh,
front.
no,
that
I'm
was
sorry.
a show.
I'm mixing characters. The friend from Doogie Howser might have a suggestion, but there's a guy on the Kirk Cameron show. His buddy had
Growing
a name.
Pains.
Growing Pains.
Yeah, he had a friend.
Yeah.
How about Zach? I mean,
His name was. Are you gonna make me say? Just say it. It's not bad.
His name's Boner.
His name's Ryder Strong.
That's fine.
That's his name, dude. It's
you're a different person.
No, I
Ryder
remember
Strong
Boner.
is the guy from Boy Meets World.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Who are you?
The
talking?
friend
Boner,
from
yeah.
Growing Pains is Boner.
Right,
That's
right.
fine.
What about
On the show,
Dustin
right?
Diamond and Saved by the Bell? You guys should go there.
Screech?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Or was he
aren't
the
they
main
all
character?
the same? Yeah, it's the thing.
That's a tough one.
I don't think I like the guy from the Max is a sidekick.
Like, again, I think you know what a side. I think it's one of the things you know when you see it. Like, Leon from Curb is a sidekick.
The guy from Tool Time, the neighbor.
Yeah,
He's
but
a
you know,
sidekick.
I don't think he counts because we never saw him.
That was the guy over the fence,
Yeah.
right?
No, Al
Wilson.
Borland. You saw Al Borland, not Wilson. Al Borland. He's the sidekick to Tim Allen.
I thought you meant the guy who you only saw half.
No.
half
Or
his
like
head.
Cole from Martin. He's a sidekick.
I think
Cole and Tommy.
I think George Wendt definitely would. He's the reason we're having this conversation. And again, thank you to Chris from 92 from the game in Atlanta who gave us this idea because he asked me last night, who's the best sitcom side?
What were you doing on Atlanta radio last night? What was the
Hanging
interview
out,
about?
chilling.
Did you call in on your own?
Is there a hook?
I thought you did fly down there.
Yeah, I called Chris. Was like, hey, what are you doing around 7:20 Eastern time?
What
Chris
was the
Thomas
first
from
question about?
92.9 The Game. We were just chit chatting about sports.
He used to work here, Chris Thomas.
He was great.
Oh, that's why he follows me.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this random Atlanta producer follow me? Now I know why.
Chris
Seems
is awesome.
really cool.
And obviously, we love Carl Dukes.
My
We love
guy.
Mike, so we're big fans of the game.
Put him up.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to the wedding.
Yes. Carl's the man.
Yeah, had to make sure I got an invite for him.
That's awesome. Oh, are we going to do EJ's wedding on the air?
You're gonna get married on the air?
Oh, no.
Are we allowed to talk about it on the air?
Yeah, sure.
The invite list?
Oh, the invite list. Yeah.
Careful.
It'll be like Vardon.
Sorry,
It'll be-
Manny.
I'll be like Vardon. It'll be like, I'll answer some questions I won't know. I'll plead the fifth.
Vardon was doing it. So tell me this about LeBron. That's a great question, Maggie. You know, just stalling for time to get out of that difficult LeBron because he knows where the bodies are buried in Akron.
I thought he answered all the LeBron questions very well. LeBron wants to own a team, wants to run a team. Do you think he's going to be any good at that?
Well, he hemmed and hawed a lot. He's like, he'll run it for a week and then decide this is no fun.
Possible. Thank you, DJ Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Joe Vardon, who came in to talk with us about all things LeBron James and more. And, of course, the Weedos.